Douglas after a turn of 35, and the Cowboys will take over from there with Reggie Collier at quarterback. His first NFL start, and the defense that he faces is awesome. Hampton, McMichael, William Perry, and Richard Dent up front. The linebackers, none better. Wilson, Singletary in the middle, and Wilbur Marshall. And the secondary, Richardson and the rookie Vesti Jackson, the cornerbacks, Durson and Finsick. And the Bears show them 8 up front in a hurry. Tony Hill wide left. Sherrard is the flanker, and now Sherrard is the man in motion. Reggie Collier to Tony Dorsett. Back to the line of scrimmage. No game. Steve McMichael. A Pro Bowl year for him. Here's the Dallas offense then. Collier the quarterback. Dorsett and Walker together. Tony Hill and Mike Sherrard the wide receivers. In front, Mark Tuinei at left tackle. Titans are next to him. Rafferty the center. Kerr and Posderick on the right side, and Doug Cosby the tight end. Hill wide left. Sherrard up top. Now he moves backwards. Walker and Dorsett behind Collier. This is Walker. A yard behind the line of scrimmage. Nothing there. Richard Dent, the first man to hit him.
I'll tell you, they've run 2 plays, and they ran right at the fridge both times. They've weighed him this week. Every time they've weighed him, number 72, he weighed over 350 pounds. There's no way Titanosaur is going to get any movement on him, and there's no way the back gets any more movement when he runs into him.
That's frightening.
How'd you like to say, well, get up there, break the huddle, and you got to block this guy right here, and we're going to run right in behind you. You have to move him backwards.
Newsom now comes into the Dallas backfield, and Collier goes back in the shotgun. Remember, he can really run. And will. Chased by Durson and taken down by Durson after a gain of 6, shy of the first down, and Saxon will come on.
Reggie Collier said yesterday, I don't go back thinking run. He said, I'm going to look for the first receiver, then the second receiver, and if by that time I don't see him, then I'm going to take off.
Saxon, that's the book on him for this year. And Lou Barnes, dangerous, back for the Bears, number 81. Watching Saxon in practice, he didn't kick a ball for less than 55 yards. He was really in top-flight form. Well, he has now. Barnes at the 21. Down quickly. Victor Scott, just activated, was the first man down. Sorry. But Victor had broken his hand in a game earlier against Denver, and he didn't appear on the roster. But that's who was there. 38-yard punt, no return. First down, Bears. Flutie, the quarterback. Galt wide right. Walter Payton left side fumble. Dallas has it. Rod Fellows.
You know, last night talking to Mike Ditka, he says 2 things we have to eliminate going into these playoffs are our turnovers and penalties. He said in the last part of the season, he said we've had way too many of those. He said I'd like to go into those games, to this game today, and come out with no turnovers and very few penalties.
Payton was hit by Bates. He's shaken up just a bit. Fellows did come up with the recovery. And Walter Payton helped to the sidelines. One of the few times you'll ever see that.
Well, you know, they had the same problem on Monday night against the Lions. They were coming off the goal line, and Payton had a fumble there.
Dallas has it, 1st and 10 at the Chicago 26. No score yet. Fred Wyant is the referee.
Wonder if they're checking the replay on this. I think they must be, whether it was down or knee was down or ground caused a fumble or whatever.
It looked as if the ball flew out while Peyton was still upright. Peyton leading for the locker room. Perhaps for x-rays, perhaps for medical attention. The call stands. It is 1st and 10 Cowboys at the Bear 27. Collier with pressure from Otis Wilson, and everybody else throws it away in the direction of Walker. But they got no one blocked. It was Hampton and Otis Wilson chasing Reggie Collier.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, Pat, that the Pro Bowl came out. The Bears have 7 players on the Pro Bowl this year, but those guys that just made that play, Otis Wilson and Dan Hampton, were 2 of the players that weren't on the Pro Bowl. And I've always felt that they're 2 of the best defensive players in the league.
It would be hard to leave them off any All-Pro team, both of them.
I think when Otis Wilson blitzes, he's as good as any other linebacker, maybe even Lawrence Taylor.
2nd and 10. Cowboys operating from the Bear 27. Bears change their defense. Walker started in motion. Dent jumped offside. He points now at Walker, but I think Walker's okay with his movement. Dent is not.
Well, Walker can go in motion as long as he doesn't go forward.
Obviously, we're having trouble with the transmission from the referee.
You know, Herschel Walker is the up back here. Now, you see, he starts forward, then he goes laterally. I'm not sure about that one.
The Bears selected to the Pro Bowl this year: Peyton, Singletary, Covert, Duerson, Hilgenberg, Marshall, and Steve McMichael. But you could almost pick them all on that defensive unit.
Yeah, I mean, you always tend to, defend the guys that didn't get there, but that's true in any All-Pro team.
2nd and 5. Misplay. Collier dropped on it. He missed the handoff. Out of the pack comes Otis Wilson. Now they're saying Collier didn't get it, and the Bears do have it. And I'm still not sure.
I think that's the Bears' ball, Pat. They recovered the fumble. The fans are booing, but I did see the official point that it was the Bears' ball.
Collier missed the handoff, then dropped on it, but apparently didn't recover it cleanly.
There was going to be a handoff to Herschel Walker. The ball hit him on the hip. Collier went down to get it, but look, you can see right there, it was Otis Wilson, the guy who ended up with it. And then he fumbled it. They called it dead there, where Otis Wilson had contact.
Bears ball, 1st and 10. Flutie back to throw. As time goes deep, looking for Ortega. Incomplete, out of bounds. Everson Walls right with him.
One thing you always talk about Doug Flutie's size, mostly about his height, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have a strong arm. Doug Flutie does have a strong arm.
Flutie with his first NFL start. Collier with his. Flutie with the plays taped to his left arm, some of them at least. Like to welcome those of you who watched the Redskins come from behind to beat the Eagles to Texas Stadium, where the score here is 0-0. Pat Summerall, John Madden. Doug Flutie is the quarterback on 2nd down. He's going to throw a screen to Sanders. Sanders cut down and he fumbles. Cowboys grabbing and wrestling, can't come up with it. The ball's still loose, and the Cowboys ultimately do come up with it. Ron Fellows again. Hegman made the hit that knocked it loose.
Jay Hilgenberg is in it there with Jeff Rohr. Hilgenberg had Rohr by the face mask with his broken left hand. Hilgenberg was in position to recover that fumble, but he has a broken hand and a cast on his left hand. He couldn't get it. Watch it right at the end here. See the fumble out of the Cowboys there. Now watch 63, Hilgenberg come in. He got the cast on his hand. He couldn't pick it up. So the Cowboys come up with it on the 20-yard line. And Hilgenberg gets in a fight with the casted ham.
He's got the good hand loose so he can swing if he needs to.
Yeah, they both had a hold of each other's face mask, like hook against hook.
Reggie Collier back to throw, up into the pocket, and off he goes. Collier has the ball stripped away from him, and it looks like the Bears have it back. Oh, there's Wilson in the middle of that.
This is an unbelievable start to a fumble ball. Well, I'll tell you, that frustrates both coaches. We're going for a record here, I think, in the early part of the game. I mean, one team gets it, fumbles, the other team gets it, fumbles it back. Other guys get it, they fumble. Ball stripped, guys with cast. Bunch of them. There's one strip that doesn't get him. Singletary's coming from behind, Duerson in front. And, of course, the strip was Dan Hampton, big 99. I'll tell you, that guy makes a lot of big plays.
Hampton.
Sure does. He's all over the place. Good pass rusher, strong against the run, and a good stripper.
That's good to know. 1st and 10. The Bears now with the ball at their own 16. And Flutie gets back to Sanders. And Sanders maybe got 2. That'll bring up a 2nd and 8. Flutie gazing over to the sideline, getting the signals from Tomczak.
Isn't this something bad? We haven't even played 4 minutes yet. We've had 4 turnovers.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a fumble per minute. If it keeps going, that we'll have like 60 fumbles.
That, I think, would be an unofficial record.
That is. It's going on. The record it's in danger.
Neil Anderson and Matt Suey are the 2 runners behind Flutie. Those of you who just joined us, St. Louis beat Tampa Bay 21-17. That means the Buccaneers will get the first-round draft when it comes up next spring, and, of course, that all points to Vinny Testaverde.
Yeah, and last year it pointed to
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson, and he ended up playing baseball, so I don't think that means that much.
A long year for St. Louis and for Tampa Bay. Luke Barnes in the game, split down at the bottom of your picture. Cowboys showing blitz. They're going after Flutie. Bates coming, and Flutie just fires to the green. Right now for an NFL update. Back to New York, here is Brent Musburger.
All right, Pat, the playoff situation clarifying in the AFC. Kansas City is in the playoffs. 3 special teams touchdowns, including this 97-yard kickoff return against Pittsburgh. There is 1 spot now open. It'll be either Cincinnati or New England, depending on tomorrow night. Back to Pat Summerall.
It is 0-0 at Texas Stadium. The Bears punting. Back deep, Gordon Banks. A flag goes down, an illegal block in the back or above the waist or whatever is usually called. 52-yard punt by Buford.
And it's going to be on Neil Anderson or against him. They blocked him in the back. Mike Ditka said he thinks he's the best special teams player in the league this year. Always the first guy down. He was the first guy down, and they did this to him. He starts out on the right side. Now watch him. Here he is. He's the first guy down. Now watch him right there. He got it right there, that little push in the back.
Manny Hendricks, number 45 in the back. Mike Ditka and the Bear organization really upset that, of course, as you were saying before, John, that Neil Anderson was not one of those picked for the Pro Bowl as a special team specialist because he's been spectacular. He's really been something.
He says not only the plays he's made, but it's the kind of thing where he fires up the rest of the guys, too.
Tony Hill split wide to the left. It is Reggie Collier at quarterback for the Cowboys. He goes back to throw, and Kenny's pass outside Dorsett with room. Dorsett up for a first down out of bounds at about the Bear 44, knocked out of bounds by Singletary and Bestie Jackson.
I think Tony Dorsett is probably the best back that ever ran a screen pass in football. in the history of the game, I can see him running this screen to the left more, where he just gets out there, lets his lineman get out in front of him, gets that dump over, and then hits that thing in the open field. Tony Dorsett's been doing that for 10 years for this team, and I don't think anyone has ever done it better.
I think the statistics kept over the years on that, the screen pass, would certainly back up what you say. First down, Dallas. Their own 43. No scores yet. Sherrard in motion. That's Herschel Walker. There's a penalty marker down on the right side of the field already. Steve McMichael tripped him up. No gain. Walter Payton coming back on the field, the other number 34. Sweetness. Singletary, you probably saw him telling Freddie Wyant, we want to refuse that, and they do. Second down.
I wonder if his mic doesn't work or if he's just forgetting to turn it on.
I don't know. Surely not after 16 weeks. Cleveland 47, San Diego 17. The Browns will have the home field advantage throughout the playoffs, as long as they continue to win. Second and 10. 8 men up front again for the Bears. Collier back to throw, and again a penalty marker down. Intended Walker, picked off by Wilbur Marshall. Marshall tackled by Cosby, but a flag is down. They'll have to wait.
I'll tell you, there's the guy. Don Shula told me in the offseason, and he thinks Wilbur Marshall was the most valuable player of last year's Bear defense. He said he can do so many things. He said he can play the run. He said he can rush the passer. And he said he can cover guys like wide receivers and tight end, man-to-man from the line of scrimmage.
Plus, he's got some explosion when he hits you.
He can uncoil like no one I've ever seen. But on that play there, I mean, he was man-to-man or Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker, of course, being one of the fastest guys in the league.
They've played against each other many times when Wilbur was at Florida and Herschel was at Georgia. Suey and Sanders behind Flutie. Reitman in motion. Flutie, reverse coming to Willie Gault. Of course, he's got that great speed, and Gault down into Dallas territory, down to the 41, a gain of 12. For an NFL update, let's again go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Pat, more on that AFC playoff picture. Cincinnati buries the Jets today. Boomer Esiason, 5 touchdown passes. The Bengals will be in the playoffs if Miami beats New England. If not, and New England wins, they will go in. Seattle was knocked out this afternoon. Back to Pat.
And as time passes, the playoff picture becomes a little bit clearer. Brent just told you about those possibilities. Reitman again in motion. Flutie gives to Suey. Ducked underneath Randy White and picked up 4. Jeff Rohr made the stop. No score in a game so far that's been nothing but turnovers.
You know, it's interesting, Pat, that last week Doug Flutie was saying he had trouble with the signals. So after a while, he asked him, please send the plays in. Now, today I noticed that after a play, he's walking over to the bench and getting the play firsthand.
There's the list of plays on his wrist. Hand off to Sanders, left side. Not much doing. A gain of 2 again. Walter Payton, by the way, Randy White made this. Now, Walter Payton back on the sideline, has a bruised shoulder and should be able to return. Flutie checking with the sideline again.
Well, that's what he's doing. See, instead of getting that signal all the way, he's walking over closer to the sideline in case he has a question. Then he has the plays on the wrist. So he has all these ways to communicate. He said that's the toughest thing that he's having is getting the plays and getting them called.
3rd and 5. Flutie out of the shotgun. Flag down. Cowboys offside. Dennis Gentry gets the first down for the Bears down to the Cowboy 27-yard line. Michael Downs knocked him out of bounds. A gain of 10. They'll probably keep the play and forget the penalty. Against Dallas. blind. Nothing but turnovers so far. Total plays, Chicago 10, 2 turnovers. Dallas 9 plays, 3 turnovers, 5 already.
And then we've had penalties, and the referee's mic doesn't work. This is really a sloppy first quarter. Stuff's not working good.
That's Flutie back to throw. This time he does have time. He overthrows Willie Goff. Ball really took off as he rolled left. Like he tried to take something off the throw, and it started to float.
Yeah, I tell you, he is an impressive guy, though. You know, I mean, he has something Mike Ditka talks about. So you don't know what it is. I mean, that winning attitude, the charisma, the leadership. I mean, it's hard to really put a definition on it, but this guy has it. And, you know, last night we were talking to him, when he came in the room, you kind of get that feeling that, I mean, it's kind of like Santa Claus or someone, the Easter Bunny. You just kind of like him.
One of those guys you want to sit next to.
Yeah, right.
Reitman went in motion. Flutie fires. Reitman is the man at about the 1. Downs finally took him out of bounds, but it'll be first and goal Bears at the Cowboy 1.
But I think that's the thing Mike Ditka likes about Flutie. We see Reitman here go in motion. Now, Flutie had to buy a little time on this. You see Reitman is coming down, going out. Flutie's scrambling now. Reitman keeps working to the outside. Lamas just finds an opening in there, and Flutie, in scrambling, bought the time that he could get it to Reitman.
It is first and goal at the 1 for the Bears. The Super Bowl champions trying to improve their record to 14-2, and Peyton is back in the game and deep. This could be a record-tying touchdown. He doesn't make it. Jeff Rohr, number 50, was the first man to hit him. An assist to Ed Jones, number 72.
One thing, we don't see the refrigerator up there anymore. Remember, this is a situation where last year the fridge would come in and block for Walter Payton. Now he doesn't even get next to Ditka. He's kind of in the back there. See, he knows it's a weight thing. And he knows his weight this year, instead of going down, has gone up during the season. So he doesn't even stand there. He knows he's not going in there.
Second and goal at the 1. Peyton and Suey. Peyton again. Touchdown. That's the final score. Minnesota beat New Orleans 33-17. 2 first-year coaches. Both of them finishing, I think, on an upbeat frame of mind. Welcome to Texas Stadium, where Walter Payton has just scored. The Bears lead the Cowboys 6-0 with 6:05 left in the first quarter. That's that record-tying touchdown I talked about a minute ago. That ties Jim Brown's all-time NFL touchdown record. Kevin Butler to try the extra point. Steve Fuller holding. 7-0 Chicago. 6:05 left to play in the first quarter. Payton got the touchdown. A first quarter that has been nothing but turnovers and breaks and fumbles and penalties. 6:05 remaining. It is 7-0 at Texas Stadium. The Bears lead the Cowboys. 8 plays. They went 53 yards. They kept it 3 minutes, 8 seconds. And Walter Payton scored on a 1-yard touchdown run. The Bears 7, Dallas 0. Kevin Butler set to kick off. Deep for Dallas, Robert Levette and Darryl Quack. There's Walter Payton. What a great man and what a great career.
I tell you, and you wonder, you know, I mean, the amazing thing about it is not only what he accomplished, but he's been there every week. The guy is indestructible.
It's going to be Levette at the 5. Chase and down. Sean Gale, number 23, after a return of 12.
You know, the big play on this drive is this one, Pat, where you see Flutie's going to go back and hit Tim Reitman. But the big thing that he does is when he gets back here, he stops. Then he makes a little move, and that let Reitman get open down here. Now, he bought the time, Now watch, we see the motion come across. Now, right here, he's not open. Now he steps up a couple more things, and here's Reitman down here in the bottom, wide open, and that got the ball down to the 1-yard line.
And Payton took it in from there. Reggie Collier back for Dallas. Gets it outside Sherrard, and Sherrard enough for a first down in front of Vesti Jackson. Another of the bright and upcoming stars, number 86.
Well, there's a rookie versus a rookie. Vesti Jackson being a rookie. See, he slipped a little, and Sherrard gave him a good move and then just came back with a hook.
Gain of 14, Mike Sherrard. Boy, they have high hopes for him.
Well, he's one of, the Cowboys on offense added a lot of speed to their team. This is one guy, and of course, Herschel Walker being the other guy.
Walker is the guy split wide to the right this time. Newsom and Dorsett are in the backfield. The handoff is to Dorsett. Got a couple of blocks and got good yardage. Steve McMichael tripped him up after a gain of 7. Herschel Walker got the key block out front.
You see one guy that's always in on those Bear tackles is Gary Fensick. I think that's one of the things that makes this Bear defense so good is they have the 3 linebackers that are good linebackers. Then they have 2 safeties, Gary Fensick and Dave Duerson, that give them like 2 more linebackers. In fact, they call them mini linebackers.
But they can still cover the receiver.
And they just get all over the field. You know, they'll get up there in the middle. Fensick's coming up right now. They'll get right up there and get in that 0-1 hole right over the center.
That 8 men up front look 3 deep. Collier took too long, and the flags come flying.
Cross start, 75.
Bill Pozderac is number 75 as the referee's mic is starting to work.
Look at it right here. Here's Gary Fensick here. They bring their safeties up, and he plays right here in the middle like a middle linebacker. So they have a linebacker here, linebacker here, linebacker here, regular linebackers, plus this guy. So they play an 8-man front. That's what they talk about. There's 8 guys up there, and that's tough to run against.
And the way it's been the last couple of years, it's tough to do anything against.
Remember last year, we did 5 Bear games, and we never saw a touchdown scored against us.
Collier picked out the Dorsett behind him. Nevertheless, they get 5 yards out of it before Fensick trips up number 33.
You see the Fridge running down there. The ball was a little behind Dorsett, and then behind the ball was the Fridge running right down the line of scrimmage. Dorsett was going to cut back, and he made a look there, and he went, watch him, here's 72. Watch him coming down the line. Now watch Dorsett look in there. He was going to cut to the inside there. He said, I better get by that 72 first. Then he made the cut.
Probably thought that was a thunderstorm.
An avalanche is coming. Well, they called Dorsett Hawkeye.
Short yardage, 3rd down 2. They give the ball to Walker. And he will not get the first down. Richard Dent shut it off.
Hey, I don't know where they're going to spot this one, but it didn't look like he had the first down. Going to be 4th down. Cowboys won't go for it here this early in the game. This thing, they're going to run into the top of the screen there. You know, everyone's a little too high. You see that Cowboy line? See 75 come flying out of there? They're too high. You can't, the offensive line can't play short yardage high. You have to get lower than the defense. That time, the Bear defense whipped the Cowboy offense right on the line of scrimmage.
Saxon is a dandy. Lou Barnes back deep. He's going to let it roll, and it takes a Cowboy bounce. And they pick it up to the Bears. Lou Barnes, after he let it go over his head, came out of there with it. The Cowboys thought they would down it. Guard Jacks finally knocked him down, but he got the Bears out of a very deep hole. A 52-yard punt by Saxon, a 22-yard return, so they only net 30. The 39th bowl appearance for Alabama, more than any other team. Payton back in the backfield with Calvin Thomas this time. Bears leading 7-0. Ortego in motion. Flutie back to throw. Up into the pocket. Deep for Ortego. Covered by Everson Walls and covered well.
I'll tell you, Flutie looks calm, though, doesn't he?
He does.
Now, he's coming over. You see, he's walking over to get a closer look at those signals again. Now he looks at his left wrist. See, he has all the plays written down there. Now he's checking them again. See, now he's going to get in the huddle and call the play right off the wrist. Instead out of the head, you call it off the wrist. He's reading it, as a matter of fact.
Years ago, I remember Tom Matty when he was forced to play quarterback for the Baltimore Colts, doing that against Green Bay. He was very effective. 2nd and 10. Flutie jumps underneath Ed Jones. Chased by Kevin Brooks. Knocked out of bounds by Jim Jeffco. First sack of Flutie.
Well, he made Too Tall miss. Watch the first guy here. Watch Too Tall. Well, he's already by him. But he faked him out. But he couldn't get away. He couldn't find anyone open downfield. Watch what happens to Too Tall's always been tough to throw over. You know, watch him. He jumps up in the air. Flutie puts it up, brings it back down, then gets out to the right side. Of course, he couldn't get away from Kevin Brooks, who just tapped him out of bounds.
That'll bring up a 3rd and 17. Ball at the Bear 26. Flutie chased again. Out of the pocket again. Got away from Randy White, but cut down by Don Smirek.
You know, one thing I felt watching the Bears Monday night against Detroit is that they got away from their run for some reason. And I have the same feeling now. They got that drive. They have the best running team in the NFL and the best defense. And those two things can win it for them. And I thought last week that maybe they went to the pass a little too much.
Buford back to punt. Hanks back deep for the Cowboys. Should have a chance with this one. Not much of a chance. Reggie Phillips was there as soon as he made the catch. Cowboys looked as if they had some blockers back there, but nothing worked out, and it's 7-0 Bears. The defending champion Super Bowl winners, the Chicago Bears, 7-0 over Dallas. Cowboys have it 1st and 10 at their own 39. A minute 16 left to play in the first quarter. Dorsett and Walker behind Reggie Collier. Outside Sherrard, no blockers. He gets up to the 45-44, call it out of bounds there by Vesty Jackson, trying to set up the wide receiver screen, and the blockers just couldn't get out there in time.
And they were trying to get their left guard, Titensor and Rafferty, out. Looked like a bad play all the way. They're trying to get their left guard and center out, but it also looked like the ball was deflected. In fact, right there, you see it goes right through Dent's hand. So Sherrard still gets it. There comes Titensor. He finally gets a block, but Rafferty didn't get out there. 2nd and 4 then. Sherrard split wide to the right. Tony Hill to the left. Bears look like they're coming with a bunch. Collier firing deep. Incomplete to Sherrard. This guy is a heck of an athlete. The Raiders lead the Colts 10-3 in the first quarter. Well, you know, when he went to college, Southern Mississippi, he said when he came out of there, he wanted everyone to know he's a quarterback. He runs the 40 and 4.5. That's like backs and receivers and defensive backs. But he said, I'm not a receiver. I'm not a defensive back. I'm a quarterback. He went to the USFL because they guaranteed him he'd be quarterback. And he finally came here to Dallas after that went down, and they also told him that he would be a quarterback here. Although he's the 3rd quarterback, and that's a tough, tough position.
Frustrating. 3rd down. And 4 at the 45. Back he goes. Away from everybody, and down he goes. Chased by Wilbur Marshall and William Perry. And Otis Wilson.
I'll tell you, Otis Wilson made a great play there. I mean, you talk about big and agile. Watch this guy. He gets him, misses him, spins around. Watch him right there. Watch him. He gets him, spins around. He gets out of it. Watch. He just did a spin. Then he got right up and got him again.
And his buddy Wilbur Marshall was there to help out.
But for a guy that weighs 232 pounds that can do that, I mean, get in a spin and then get down and spin off the ground and then spin back up and make a tackle, that's a pretty good play.
Saxon back to punt. Barnes back deep. Punt by Saxon. Barnes will take it at his own 32. Away from one. It's got a wall. Cut down. Todd Fowler made the hit that brought Barnes down when it looked like he had something set up. 43-yard punt. A return of 8. And it's still 7-0 Bears. That shot of Texas Stadium, the house with the hole in the roof, from the Slice blimp. Piloted by John Robinson.
No. John Robinson?
Right.
He was coaching Friday in San Francisco, and now he's blimping.
Versatile.
Nah.
Walter Payton is the lone setback behind Doug Flutie. The Bears go with 3 wide receivers, one of whom is Neil Anderson. He in motion and Payton the ball carrier for 3. Eggman on a stop.
Here we were talking earlier, there's kind of been a sloppy first quarter. Let's look what's happened here. There's been 4 fumbles, 1 interception, so that's 5 turnovers. There's been 3 penalties accepted and 3 more that weren't, so that's 6 penalties and 5 turnovers in 1 quarter of football.
That gets us to the end of 1 quarter of football, and the score is the Bears 7. The Dallas Cowboys nothing. The Bears. As we begin the second quarter, the Bears lead the Cowboys 7-0, and they take over from their own 42. 2nd and 8 it is. Neil Anderson and Dennis Gentry. That's Anderson moving, and Flutie backpedaling. For Anderson, touchdown. Chased by Bates. Flutie got it there. If you don't believe he's got a good arm, check this one out again.
Those are 2 guys that are going to loom big in this Bear offense. One is Anderson. Watch him. He's out there. He's out there. Starts in motion. Now he's just going to run straight up the field, right past Bill Bates. He has great speed, much faster than Bates, as you can see, and Flutie hit it right out there in front of him.
And watch Flutie.
He's running down there faster than Bates was covering Anderson.
He's got good speed, too.
And a good wing.
Butler for the extra point with Fuller holding to make it 14-6. Flutie headed back to the sideline, and look at Mike Ditka.
That's the other side of Ditka. A little hug. And the head turned away. Let's watch the play again. This is different. Look, they have 2 wide receivers out here. This is Anderson. He's going to start in motion here, come up, get man-to-man on Bates, run right by him. Flutie sees it all the way and gets a touchdown. See, they start out there in a tandem, like an I formation. Here comes Anderson. There comes Bates. There goes Anderson. There stays Bates. There's the football. Whoa!
Flutie threw that ball from his own 34. Anderson caught it at the 10. So the strength of his arm should no longer be in question.
Strength is not one of his weaknesses.
I like that.
There's a guy who has a weak one now, but has been the heart of this team, the Chicago Bear team last year, and of course led them to the Super Bowl. And I've always felt that the league needs more Jim McMahons. Of course, he had the surgery this week in Los Angeles. He flew in for the game today. He's going to fly back to Los Angeles, start his rehabilitation.
That surgery, John, much more serious, I think, than even he thought or anyone thought. There are more things wrong in there than they knew about.
Well, they said that they had to tighten it up. They had to tighten up the joint. And he won't be able to really throw for 6 months. Now, of course, we hope to hear from him personally at halftime. We have word that he may come up here in the booth
right
at halftime. And we'll have some food here for him. He can eat a little. Then we'll see what he has to say.
He needs a one-arm sandwich. And Neil Anderson, who just scored the touchdown on the kickoff team and one of the very best, if not the, on special teams. He just scored his first NFL touchdown. This is Robert Levette at the 4. Not much room. Sean Gale made the stop, but penalty markers are down back at midfield. Next week, of course, the playoffs start. The wild card game, we don't have a time yet, but the Rams will be at RFK Stadium to face the Redskins. So just check your local listings for the time that begins.
I know one thing. I know Joe Gibbs has to be happy that his team came back today. Remember, we had him last week against Denver. After he lost to the Giants, he wanted to get back on that track going into the playoffs. He didn't against Denver. And he was down 14-0 today to Philadelphia, and they came back and win that one.
Ernie Stautner over on the sideline talking to two of his longtime defensive line outstanding members, Randy White and Ed Jones. Now that the Buccaneers have lost and did to St. Louis today, that'll be the drafting order next spring. The Bucs get the first choice. Indianapolis would be next. Green Bay, San Diego, and then St. Louis. And everyone assumes that number 1 choice will be Vinny Testaverde. That's Dorsett skipping out to about the 30, picked up 3 yards. William Perry with Dorsett in his arms.
It has to be a disappointing year for the Cowboys that are so used to winning, so used to going to playoffs that when it gets around Christmas time, you're always thinking, well, we got the playoffs next week or the week after. And here, this is the last game. And it's all over. They all go home.
And Steve Pelluer is now in at quarterback, 2nd and 7. Pelluer back to throw. Outside to Walker. Walker steps out of bounds at about the 35, a pickup of 5. And they still need a couple for a first.
There's Mike Singletary. He's the middle linebacker of this Bear defense, and he's also, the team captain. I mean, he's the guy that makes the play. See him? He looks, he calls, he adjusts. After he gets the adjustment, he looks, what else I got here? Look forward. There they go out there. That's how a middle linebacker reads. He has to do all that talking before the thing. Then he reads, then he runs.
I would say he looked ready. On 3rd down. Pelluer back to throw, has time, batted away by Richard Dent. Incomplete, and the Cowboys again will have to punt.
I think this is the thing that Tom Landry did have planned. Reggie Collier was going to start. We can see he's talking there to Danny White. Then he was going to bring in Steve Pelluer. Then he'll probably bring Collier back and Pelluer. He wanted to divide this game between those two quarterbacks.
Saxon back to punt to Lou Barnes. Good kick again by Saxon. Barnes at his own 16. Gets away from the first Cowboy down. And is knocked out of bounds by Jesse Penn. So with 13:45 left to play in the first half, the Bears lead the Cowboys 14-0. It's been a long time since they scored against Chicago. Texas Stadium, the home of the Cowboys, Irving, Texas, where the Bears lead 14-0 with 13:45 left to play in the first half. 5 turnovers. Peyton scored on a 1-yard run, and Flutie hit Neil Anderson with a 58-yard touchdown pass. That's the way it is. Flutie back to throw again. Going for Galt. Intercepted by Fellows. Galt looked one way, Fellows looked the other way, and Fellows came down with it.
I think that was one thing the Bears wanted to do, is work on Fellows. Other teams have had some success against Fellows lately, but not on this one. When the ball was just thrown short. I don't know, had he gotten that one out in front of Galt, it would have been an interesting play. They wouldn't see why he didn't get everything into it. There's Jeffcoat coming. You see, and he had a duck. He didn't get a chance to really step and follow through.
Like he usually does.
Right, and I think just that rush of Jim Jeffcoat was enough to cause the interception.
Both teams with 3 turnovers. Dorsett is the lone setback. Fuller outside the Renfro. Complete. 4-6. Bestie Jackson, the defender.
I think that was one of the things that I'm surprised the Bears really aren't going to the run a little more. That they're number 1, as we talked about, in run offense, and that Cowboy defense is 23rd against the run. So you'd look at a statistical matchup, you'd think that would be a pretty good one.
2nd and 4. Walker back in now, in front of Dorsett, and now they shift to split backs. By Duerson. Duerson had a chance to really unload on Herschel Walker, but didn't.
I think Otis Wilson was supposed to be on a man-to-man, and he got caught up with a wide receiver. Watching the left-hand side of the screen, you don't see it there. He goes out of there. See, Wilson is behind him. There's Duerson in front of him, and all Duerson wanted to do is, you said he just pulled up. All he wanted to do is knock him out of bounds.
The 40 after a gain of 17, 1st and 10 Cowboys. This is Renfro split wide to the right. And in motion as Pelluer goes back to throw under pressure and has to just get rid of it. Cosby, I believe, was the intended receiver. He was well covered, and Pelluer under pressure from Dent just had to unload.
Crawford Kerr was going at it with Mike Singletary there. The ball was in the air, and Kerr was blocking Singletary. I think it was supposed to be some kind of screen pass in the middle.
That's where he was looking.
I think he had Walker. I think he had Herschel Walker in there because the middle of the line went downfield, and he just threw it over.
Walker splits out wide to the right this time. Otis Wilson comes out with him. Third back to throw. Pass is picked off by Bestie Jackson. Intended for Mike Sherrard. The fans really jump on Pelluer. That's the Dallas Cowboys' 4th turnover.
Watch Bestie Jackson here. He gets a hand here. Now watch him get the jump. He's staying underneath him. So he rides him up, then he rides him to the inside and rides him right into the interception.
It was Tony Hill, the intended receiver.
I was going to say, but
here's the interception again. Here's Bestie Jackson out here. Tony Hill comes off the line. Now Jackson can hit him and play underneath him as he goes in the end because he has a safety in here behind him. So he can play short and underneath, and that's why he gets the interception. See, he's inside. Now he runs underneath him. The reason he can be underneath is because of the safety behind him deep.
We come back with Gentry in motion and Payton the ball carrier. Caught from behind as he looked upfield by Mike Hagan.
Well, that makes them close to even now. They've had 10 rushes and 11 passes, and you would think that eventually they're going to run the ball more than pass it. I think when you have, guys like Walter Payton, Matt Suhey, and then you got Calvin Thomas, Thomas Sanders, the rookie Neil Anderson, I would think that somewhere this team should be more overbalanced towards a run.
Right now they have Calvin Thomas in the backfield with Peyton. First down, Bears. Ball's at their own 38, and they give to Thomas, and he caves in the whole defense and picks up about 5, maybe 7. Randy White was the first man to make contact with 235-pound Calvin Thomas.
Well, you know, the one thing about the Bears is they have a good offensive line. If we look at Randy White there, this is the first year, and since I can remember, that he hasn't been in a Pro Bowl.
8 straight times he was in.
In fact, the Dallas Cowboys this year didn't have one player voted to the Pro Bowl. And that's the first. I think it's the first in their history.
That's right. Even back in 1960, they had one man, Jim Doran. Calvin Thomas blasts straight ahead again and into Cowboy territory. Stopped by Bates, but another Bear first down.
They're running right in there on that left side behind Mark Bortz and Jim Covert.
Final scores: Cincinnati all over the Jets, 52-21. Cleveland 47-17. St. Louis beat the Buccaneers. Houston over Buffalo. Kansas City in the playoffs for the first time in 16 years with that victory. Minnesota beat New Orleans. Flutie to Peyton. Left side, 2 yards, penalty flag. Randy White to stop. Excuse me.
They have some good battles going down there in that left side. That's the 3rd straight play. They ran in there behind Covert and Bortz against Randy White and Jim Jeffcoat. Let's watch it here in the left side. Boom, they take off, tie into each other, get the movement, get it going backwards. Randy White gets off the block of Bortz. He's able to get in the tackle.
In motion, first down.
That was the other side. Now, that shouldn't happen. They're running to the left, and that was the right guard, Tom Thayer, and the right tackle, Keith Van Horn. See, now they're running to the left. Now, watch the guys up on top. See Van Horn move a little there? Ah, that wasn't bad, though. What the heck?
I don't know about that.
Ah, that's picky. I mean, the guy could just be straightening out his pants or something. To do that, that was just a little wiggle.
Still motion.
Oh, but I mean, you're that big and you get a little wiggle like that, that doesn't even count. That could be a flinch.
Look at the way Hilgenberg holds the ball when he snaps it.
And that could be one-handed because his left hand is broken.
Flutie upset about something, saying, come on.
I think what they're going to say there is maybe it's what you said when Hilgenberg shifted it from the up to the other thing. He got a penalty last week for that.
Interrupted the 30-second clock. Start over again, no penalty.
Start over again, no penalty.
That meant nothing. That's Hilgenberg there, 63, the cast on his left hand. That jersey way down. You know why it's down so far? He has one of those buttons underneath where the back comes and the front comes and it meets underneath, and he buttons it together.
Looks like it could be painful. Peyton around the right side. Out of bounds in front of the Dallas bench. Hagman and Lockhart.
Yeah, you can always tell what you think about a center when you pull him. Very few teams pull their center. See, Hilgenberg snapped the ball one-handed, broken hand. He can't hold with the left hand, you know that. So he has to do all his holding with the right hand. So he gets the push and the hold with the right hand, protecting the broken left hand. But Mike Webster of Pittsburgh is one of those other centers that will pull on occasion.
Well, they got to be quick, obviously. Second down and 11. Anderson on the move. Flutie gets it out to Anderson. He skipped away from one Cowboy. And Neil Anderson hurdles into Cowboy territory, tripped up by Mike Hagman. And he leaves some bodies along the way.
And he's going to, in a career, going to leave a lot of bodies along the way. I think that's one of the things that people have missed, and even Mike Ditka said it. He said all the talk about Jim McMahon being injured and will he play or not play, Doug Flutie being signed, will he play or not play, Steve Fuller, Mike Tomczak, the whole quarterback thing. He said they've missed a little. We're getting Neil Anderson in there, and we're getting Thomas and Sanders and doing some different things that are going to be pretty good.
And don't forget Gentry, who's certainly a weapon, too. Cowboys showing a big rush. And then they back off as Flutie comes out of there. Flag down. Flutie on the scramble. Hit down by Bates for a loss of perhaps 2 or 3. The third sack of the day by the Dallas defense, but a flag down at the beginning of the play. Against the Bears.
Decline, 4th down.
Mike Ditka's not one to hide his feelings.
No, he isn't. But he's dressing better.
Yeah. So Maury Buford goes back for his third punt. Banks back deep for the Cowboys. Fair catch at the 15. And the fans don't like that choice. A 31-yard punt by Buford. And the Cowboys will take over at their own 15-yard line, trailing by 14.
Merry Christmas from the people at Miller Highland.
Pasadena, another Super Bowl, and I'm out for the season. No Miracle Whip. I can handle it.
A sandwich? Even McMahon's isn't a sandwich without the tangy zip of Miracle Whip salad dressing.
Whoa, things are looking up.
The Bears 14, Dallas nothing. Pat Summerall, John Madden on Christmas Day. CBS Sports presents a full lineup. 12 Eastern. It starts with the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan against Patrick Ewing and the New York Knicks. Then at 2:30 Eastern Time, the John Hancock Sun Bowl. Washington against Alabama. Crimson Tide's 39th bowl appearance.
You know that Alabama, Ray Perkins, the head coach back there, this could be his last game at Alabama. There's a rumor that he's going to be the new head coach at Tampa Bay next year.
They all deny it.
Well, you have to deny it before you go to a bowl game.
But it is a possibility. Down goes Pallor in the arms of Richard Dent. He just started to look up.
There's another guy who's mad that he didn't make the Pro Bowl. Maybe he'll make it today. This will be for all Madden. It's too late for the Pro Bowl, but Dent with plays like this, did you see him on 2-and-A? He started upside, then he brought his left hand in, then he went inside. Started him up the field and banged him to the outside and made the move inside.
He is quick.
That's an all-pro rush there.
2nd and 20. Pallor has Walker and Dorsett behind him. Hampton moved, got back. Sherrard in motion. Pallor hands off to Dorsett, and Dorsett's got some room. One more tackle, and he could have been off for another record.
You know what that play reminded me of? Remember a few years ago, the same position, the last game of the season against the Minnesota Vikings? Tony Dorsett ran that play 100 yards. And they only had 10 men in the field, but it was a draw play.
Just
off
like
the goal line. Same play, same size. But they didn't tackle him out here. They missed him, and he ran the length of the field.
That's why I said he could have been off for another record, although that wouldn't have been 99 yards, but the other one was. It did look just like that, though.
Well, what Tom Landry thought, a few years ago we were in the same position. Let's run this play.
That year they made the playoffs. This year they won't. First down. They do get some breathing room, and Pallor to Sherrard, who hangs on. And that'll be another first down. Richardson on the stop. A gain of 11. 6:15 left to play in the first half, and the Bears lead it 14-0. will start from their own 37-yard line. First and 10. Walker. Left side, a yard. William Perry in the middle of the pile.
Well, and Dan Hampton was right there, too. Sometimes they move Hampton over the center, which they did on that play. Now, that really gives you a load in that middle. Watch Hampton. He's over the center. Perry's right next to him. Now, how do you run between those two guys? Perry starts inside, Hampton starts outside, and they converge. Boom. And you got to go through it. You know, remember like that thing in the fun house? Two things go around like this, and you got to try and go through it? Hard.
That doesn't sound like a fun house. Hampton back in there again over the middle. Fedor ducks or tries to duck away, does finally get away. Runs away from Perry and scrambles out of bounds in front of the Cowboy bench. After all that dancing, a gain of 3.
Watch out, this is going to be a stunt here in the middle. See, Perry's coming inside. Hampton is going outside. Hampton has him. Pelor escapes him, gets to the outside. Now watch Perry come jogging down that line of scrimmage. He was going pretty good. He let up there a little at the end, but he made Pelor run that ball and get out of bounds. I'll tell you, for a big guy, you know, for a big, heavy guy, he moves pretty well.
You think he had it turned on?
No, he had it turned up about halfway is all, not turned on all the way.
Third down. Bears on a blitz. Pelor to Tony Hill. That'll be enough for a first. Vesty Jackson, the defender, but a gain of 9. The diving catch by Tony Hill.
One of the things that the Cowboys are trying to do is work on Vesty Jackson out here. Of course, we know that when he ran an in the time before, Jackson got the interception. That time, Tony Hill did the same thing. Let Jackson play that inside, and then he ran it out on him.
First down, Cowboys. Right at midfield, they trailed 14-0 to the Super Bowl champion Bears. Pelor back to the other side. But Herschel Walker, he's up and rolling. Well conceived. Walker fell down, still made the catch. Fensick made the stop, but a gain of 7.
You know, what a game Herschel Walker had last week. Remember, 292 yards. Here, this is a trick play. Roll right, screen back left. Roll all the way out to the numbers, throw it all the way back to the left with the line out in front on a screen pass. You know, had that been a real good pass, they had pretty good blocking out of there. That could have been a bigger play.
Second down and 3. Walker did a remarkable job to catch it and then get back into the action. Fensick came up, jumped, and the flags again come flying.
Hey, this Bear defense has kept Walker pretty much under control today. He's had 3 catches for 29 yards and 4 carries for only 3 yards.
False start, number 68.
False start. Crawford Kerr, number 68.
Well, this is a good defensive line, tough guys, and he's playing against Steve McMichael, and, you know, you want to get every little advantage you can. That'll be 2 big old hogs down there.
Oh, yeah.
You get Crawford Kerr going against Steve McMichael.
They know about pickup trucks.
Yeah, those are 2 tough guys that'll wear a cap. And,
Muddy feet.
yep.
Second down. Pelor has to take off with it and does. Stopped by Fensick. A gain of 4. That'll bring up a 3rd down situation. Just under 3.5 minutes left first half.
Tom Landry giving the play to Danny White, who was signaling in. Steve Pelor. A lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
One of them was like he was eating. You see the one that goes to the mouth.
Thought he was taking some kind of tablet.
Yeah. But see, they have to include the formation and any motion and the play and the pass pattern. I would think all that stuff has to be a pass play.
certainly looks like it. With Renfro in the game, they are in a shotgun. Dent is away from the blockers and down in the arms of William Perry goes Pallure. Dent and Perry, the third sack.
Yeah, well, Perry's going to get crushed. It was Dent that did it. Watch this. Dent's going to come from here. He makes Pallure step up. When Pallure steps up, he steps right in here to the fridge. But Dent is the first guy. He's the top guy coming from the outside. Right there, he's free. He makes him step up. He steps up right into 72. That's what they call flushing out. Dent flushed him out, and Perry picked up what was left.
Right into the refrigerator. Lou Barnes back deep for the Bears. Saxon to punt. Good high kick to Barnes. He will field it at his own 9. And there quickly, Jesse Penn and Johnny Holloway down to knock him out of bounds. William Perry. Wonder what size that jersey is. 72?
Well, it's industrial strength. And, you know, being a big guy, what happens to you, Pat? You get that industrial strength material in there, and it tends to shrink up on you when they wash it.
Yeah.
I've noticed that. The thing, you know, that is shrinking up on the fridge a little as the season goes on. Although I think his blue one, this one, I think is bigger than the white one. I think the white one has shrunk more than this one.
You think that the jerseys shrink more than he grows?
No, that's not. No, as a big guy, you always do that. Your clothes always shrink. You never gain.
True. Pitch back to Suey by Bates. A gain of 4. That'll be the notification that there are only 2 minutes remaining in the first half. And the Bears lead the Cowboys 14-0. 2 minutes remain in the first half. The Bears lead the Cowboys 14-0 as you look up through that now famous hole in the roof at the Slice Blimp. And don't forget, coming up at halftime, Brent and Irv with scores and highlights from around the league. And the playoff picture is somewhat clearer now. Second and 6. Pat Summerall, John Madden. And we're at Texas Stadium. Doug Flutie at quarterback for the Bears with Walter Payton and Matt Suey behind him. Flutie with time. The middle. Moorhead. Fellows and Hegman wrapped around Emory Moorhead. 14-yard gain, Bear first down.
Yeah, I think that was an interesting thing, Pat, where people say Flutie being too small, and you don't throw over guys. Watch him how you throw between lanes. You see it there? You don't throw over anyone. You just find an open lane, and that's where you throw.
On first down, Flutie goes back again. Flushed out of the pocket, gets away from Jeff Pope. Chased by White, incomplete. In the direction of Ortego. Covered by Everson Wall.
I think that's the thing. You know, people are saying that you know, that he's too short, he can't see over. No quarterback show over. Here's what he's done. He's had 15 pass plays. Because of the rush and trying to find a lane, though, he's had to leave the pocket 6 times. He left 6 times, and of those 6, he got the ball off. He threw 4 of them. One was a big one to the tight end, Tim Reitman, and then he was sacked 2 times. So just about half the time that he goes back to pass, he's being flushed out of there.
1:21 left to play in the first half. Bears leading 14-0. They got the ball at their own 28. Rudy again retreats the pass. Trying to throw a screen pass to Payton. Flutie off on the move, and he's quick. Doug Flutie down at the 47-yard line. First down, Bears, a 19-yard scramble and a timeout signaled for by Doug Flutie. He gets it all the way up to the 47-yard line. First down, Bears, a minute 5 seconds left to play. They have 2 timeouts remaining. 14-0. Bears over Dallas. Minute 5 left, first half. Bears have 2 timeouts now. What's their strategy, John?
Well, I think the thing that they have with the 2 timeouts, they have plenty of time. They can still run the ball. They can throw the ball and throw it inside and take the timeout. because they have the 2. So I think the first thing you think of when you're here at midfield is get the ball down to the 30. In other words, pick up 20 yards first to get you a field goal. Then when you get that, then you go for the touchdown.
Keith Van Horn, one of the outstanding offensive linemen for the Bears, limped over to the sideline. So he's out of the lineup right now. Place taken by Bortz, I believe. Peyton batted it in the air. Becker, I beg your pardon, took his place. Peyton batted it up and came down with it after a gain of 5. Van Horn back in the game now.
Now the Bears are going without a huddle here. The Cowboys had about 20 guys on the field. They just got them off. They're down to 11.
Now Flutie comes out of the pocket again. Fires upfield, incomplete, and a flag goes down. Vince Albritton hammered Flutie.
Albritton really teed off on Flutie, and that's going to be a 15-yard penalty. Watch him here. Flutie's cornered there. He throws the ball sidearm. Albritton tees off on him. The referee, Freddie Wyatt, was right on top of that. Threw the flag.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, hit to the head. 26.
And again, the reason is, once the quarterback starts out like that, he's a runner. But what the referee called was the hit to the head. In other words, he throws the ball, and he called him for the hit to the head, not the late hit.
So that's the first down. Stops the clock. By the way, it was Paul Blair who had replaced Van Horn. Van Horn is back now. Flutie is okay. Back in the huddle, calling the play. Moorhead comes out.
The Bears have a little indecision here. They had 13 guys on. They finally got Stewie and Moorhead out.
Flutie's got to hurry. The 30-second clock down to 4 seconds now. They'll get the play off. Flutie out of the pocket again. End zone open is Galt. Touchdown. That's what a Flutie can do for you. He can buy that time.
Well, that's a good combination. A quarterback who can buy a time and the speed of Willie Galt.
The Bears lead at 20-0. Remember, last year here was 44-0 Bears, and now it's going to be, if Butler's good, 21-0. Fuller holding. Butler for the extra point. Here comes the yellow flag again.
Looks like the Cowboys moved. You know, this used to be a free penalty where the defense could just tee off. Now it's not anymore. It goes on to the kickoff. Because, see, Butler won't take it. He's practiced from the ball being spotted on the 2 and the holder back 7 yards. So that's a 9-yard thing for him. A 9 and then the 10, a 19-yard. So he doesn't want that penalty, doesn't want half the distance. So they just leave the ball right there on the 2.
And they'll get the penalty on the kickoff. Butler for the extra point to make it 21-0. And good, and it's 21-0. The Bears over Dallas. Here's what did it.
This is what Flutie can do. By the time he starts back, he looks, he feels the pressure, although he really had pretty good protection. Now he's able to come out to the left side. Now he can see the whole field. And this is what he sees. Okay, now watch while he's scrambling. Galt just starts. Then he's able to come across the field. Then because he's scrambling, he goes back, and he gets all the way behind the defense and into the end zone. But see, the thing that Flutie could do by not staying in the pocket, by getting outside, that gave him a full vision.
Flutie's second touchdown pass of the day. The other, a 58-yarder to Neil Anderson. That 33 yards to Willie Galt. And Walter Payton got the other one. And so the Bears lead 21-0. They'll get a week off, and then they'll play a playoff game in 2 weeks at Soldier Field.
And I'll tell you, those teams that start talking about the Giants this and the Giants that, you better not count this team out.
The Bears or the 49ers. But next week we'll be at RFK. And don't count the Redskins out or the Rams, whom they'll face. And that's where John Madden and I will be next week. Butler to kick off. What happened to the penalty? He's still at the 35.
They forgot.
Butler's kick is a good one to Lavette at the 3. To the 26, maybe. And again. Kemper Square. Cowboy offensive unit comes on the field. Steve Diassi involved with somebody.
But you know, you always get your most emotional players on the special teams. Guys like Steve Diassi, those are always the guys, you know, those feisty, fighty guys like that. So you find that, you know, it's been a frustrating year for the Cowboys. You get guys like that, and there's always a little extra going on.
Cowboys start at their own 27. First and 10, 17 seconds remain in the first half. Lure to Dorsett. Left side and nothing. And that should take care of the first half. Dewerson up to make the stop. They'll head for the locker room. That's the end of the first half. The Chicago Bears 21. The Dallas Cowboys nothing.
Teams around the National Football League. 7 touchdowns are scored by the various special teams, the 3 most important by the Kansas City Chiefs as they hustle into the playoffs for the first time since Hank Stram was their coach back in 1971. And a punt return specialist moved the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a gigantic step closer to signing Vinny Testaverde out of Miami. By Sikahema of the St. Louis Cardinals tied the NFL record by hauling back 2 punts for Cardinal scores, and the Bucs were beaten. There was also a freak moment for the Cleveland Browns. Watch Reggie Camp. He is hit in the face by the handkerchief thrown by the referee. The weighted end struck him in the face. Fortunately, it was not a serious injury. But Irv, drat that referee, but what aim he had with that. He should be a dart thrower.
Yeah, I wonder if he plays darts, you know?
Yeah, tell us about that flag and the weight they've got on the one end.
Well, you know, you have a lead weight at the end of it to be able to throw the flag so he can mark the spot. They use that as a marker oftentimes, and unfortunately, they hit Camp in the face with it.
Yeah, fortunately for him, though, it struck him underneath the eye. Irv to the scoreboard. Important things first. The playoff situation in the AFC. 24-19. The Chiefs with a huge win. John Mackovic probably saved his job as coach. Irv, show us those other 2 special team scores.
It's really incredible. Harry Newsom has his punt blocked here, and Darren Cherry drops on it for special team score number 1 for Kansas City today. You know, Chuck Noll has to wonder what's going on, but you know, 30% of your play is on special teams play, and Kansas City was outstanding in that area today. Gary Anderson has an attempted field goal block. Lloyd Burr scoops it up and rambles 78 yards the other way for another Kansas City special teams touchdown.
And as a result of their special team play, the Chiefs go to the playoffs. Meanwhile, the Cincinnati Bengals move closer to the playoffs, but they will need help from the Miami Dolphins. And they exploded against the New York Jets, who move a step closer to the Super Bowl by losing for the 5th straight time, but they had a special team touchdown too, Irv.
One exciting play early in the ball game. Bobby Humphrey takes the ball on the 4-yard line and rambles 96 yards for a score, and it looked as though the Jets were going to take command of this football game, Brett.
Joe Walton looked relieved, but it didn't last very long. Boomer Esiason on this day would complete 23 of 30 for 425 yards and 5 touchdowns. This one off the scramble. Rodney Holman is all alone, and he goes the rest of the way for the 34-yard score, and Sam Weich's offense is in high gear. Esiason comes back, and this time he'll hit Chris Collinswood, and Cincinnati puts 52 points on the board, but they have not yet qualified for the playoffs. Here's the situation. 1 game remaining in the AFC tomorrow night. New England will play Miami down in the Orange Bowl. If New England wins the game, then the Patriots capture the AFC East. The Jets have the home field for the wild card. They will host Kansas City. But if Miami wins, the Jets win the AFC East, the Patriots are out of it completely, and the Bengals will go out and play the Chiefs in Kansas City in the wild card. NFC, the Washington Redskins hustle back in the second half, and they beat the Philadelphia Eagles 21-14. Irv, how'd that one develop?
Boy, I tell you, they came back in great fashion, Brent. They lost the first half 14-0 on plays like this. Dre Schrader throwing a ball picked off over the middle by Gary Kopp. But in the second half, the Redskins came back and won 21-0, winning the ball game. Gary Clark's out, their top receiver, with an injury. But watch Schrader go to work here in the second half of the ball game, going upfield looking for Clinton Didier, and he threads the needle, a 26-yard touchdown strike to the big guy there. And Schrader comes back again, this time hitting Don Warren on the rollout, a 2-yard touchdown strike. And late in the ball game, when they needed to put it away, they went to George Rogers, who rambled in from 5 yards out, and the Redskins came back with 21 second-half points to win the ball game.
All right, Irv, and the NFC wildcard game is all set next Sunday. They'll play it down in RFK, Washington. It'll be the Los Angeles Rams coming in to play the Washington Redskins. And we'll have more on the NFL today right after these messages from your local ball league. Continues to be the Cleveland Browns. They have wrapped up the home field for as long as they last in the playoffs. They are out San Diego. Now watch this sequence. Kosar throws the pass to Brennan, and the defensive back is very lax, thinks he's down. He scrambles in. Kosar says, I got 6 seconds left. Let me have a timeout. He doesn't need it. They have already scored the touchdown, and they rout San Diego 47-17. St. Louis and Tampa Bay, we told you that story. The Buccaneers qualify for the first pick in the NFL draft. Houston over Buffalo this afternoon, 16-7 was the final of that one. Atlanta over Detroit in 26. Dan Henning may have saved his job with that win this afternoon. And Minnesota gets a remarkable performance from a backup quarterback in this game. Tommy Kramer was out. Wade Wilson goes 24 of 39 for 361 yards and 3 touchdowns. 2 of them to tight end Steve Jordan, and the Vikings stamped themselves as a team to watch next year in the NFC Central. And the Chicago Bears, first the Raiders score. Raiders over the Colts, 17-6. They are at the half of that game. And the one we are watching here, the Chicago Bears running it up on the Dallas Cowboys, 21-0. Of course, I'll tell you, Doug Flutie, there's nothing wrong with his arm. Maybe his height, but not his arm.
Yeah, you look at him, Sonny Jurgensen and Fran Tarkenton and Greasy were all relatively short quarterbacks. They would stand in the pocket and throw through the seams. Flutie is effective when he rolls out of the pocket, gets to the outside where he's open. So the key to stopping him is to keep him in the cup, right, so he can't see.
Now, how about the Dallas defense, though? Pretty unimpressive so far.
Well, they've been up and down all year, but I think the thing they have to do today is continue to contain Flutie, to keep him in the pocket, and make him throw from the well, so we say, Well.
Let me remind everybody, coming up on Christmas afternoon here on CBS, Thursday afternoon, Michael Jordan, the scoring leader in the NBA, comes into Madison Square Garden to take on the New York Knicks. For the Knicks a year ago, they played the Boston Celtics. That was their best performance of the year, and the way they're going, they need a remarkable turnaround of this. We'll start at noon Eastern. After that, we'll go down for the John Hancock Sun Bowl down in El Paso, Texas. This is really one of the better matchups. The key game in all of college football remains, of course, Penn State against Miami. But if you're looking for good bowl matchups, this is one of them. Washington against Alabama. Now let's send you back to Dallas. Here's Pat Summerall and John Madden. Pat?
All right, Brent, it's last night with both coaches, yesterday afternoon with Tom Landry, about the quarterback situation. Reggie Collier started for the Cowboys, Doug Flutie for the Bears. And I guess you'd have to give Flutie an A for his performance, wouldn't you?
Well, and of course, they're getting ready to go into playoffs, and Mike Ditka was saying last night that if I had to go right now, Mike Tomczak would be the starter. But I'll bet you right now at halftime, he's changed his mind. I would think, as I watch this Bear team, and we watch Doug Flutie in the first half, I kind of think that he's going to be the starter in the playoffs because he's proven that he can make big plays for him. We saw him in his first half. Here's the first one. It wasn't a touchdown, but it was a big pass to his tight end, Tim Reitman. And that got the ball down to the 1-yard line, and then Walter Payton took it in. But that was off of a scramble. He had to move out, and boom, he hit it. Then the next one was a big touchdown to Neil Anderson. Here he starts out in motion. He's the guy in the slot now running right by Bill Bates. And this is a heck of a throw by Doug Flutie. I mean, he gets it right out there. Anderson doesn't even have to break stride.
When you look at those two plays, and this one, too, coming up to Willie Gault, the one to Anderson was straight drop back, so he can do that. The other two were on the move.
But see, right here, he not only bought a little time, but he gets out here in that open where he has great vision. He can see the whole field, and then, of course, he ended up with Willie Gault down there in the end zone.
You bring up an interesting thought. If you did start the playoffs, and they'll start in 2 weeks, the Bears will, would you go with Doug Flutie? He doesn't have the experience, but he certainly does put some points on the board.
I think I would go with Doug Flutie, and we may get part of this answer now because Mike Ditka said he was going to split the game between Flutie and Tomczak. And it'll be interesting to see if Tomczak gets in this second half and when he gets in this second half.
Right now, they lead 21-0. CBS Sports coverage of NFL football will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
I'll tell you, after watching that first half, and these Cowboys in the first half, talked about, Flutie and what he's done and the Bears have done, but I think the Cowboys may be farther away or maybe have dropped deeper than some people think.
I think you're right. Thomas Sanders will return Raphael Septien's kickoff and is knocked out of bounds at about the 22-yard line by Manny Hendricks. That's what Flutie's done so far, 8 out of 14. But the distances are key.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, he spread it up and down the field. We see in that under 10, 4 for 4, between 10 and 20, 10 and 20, 1 for 4, 1 for 3, 21 to 30. And then he's also thrown a couple of deep ones for big plays.
And Flutie is going to get a rest as Mike Tomczak is now the quarterback, number 18 for the Bears. Injured last week against Detroit, but not as badly as they thought. So Tomczak will start it. Hand off to Payton, and he runs into Payton behind the line of scrimmage. Payton stays on his feet and picks up 2 yards. Make it 2nd and 8 as Jeff Rohr was out to make the stop. Among those who have been pleasant surprises, I guess you'd have to say this year, for the Cowboys, one would be number 50, Jeff Rohr.
Well, they've been looking for a linebacker to play that right linebacker for some time, and I think Rohr has established himself as that guy. I don't know in the middle. I don't know if Lockhart is really growing the way they thought they would. I think Mike Aikman on the other side, they've been looking to replace him for a couple of years.
Time. 2nd and 7. Anderson in motion. And Tomczak back to throw. Outside, intended for Moorhead. Bounced off him. Aikman almost got the rebound.
This is going to be interesting with Tomczak starting this second half. As you said, he was injured. In college, he broke his leg. And then the injury that he had Monday night was the same spot in the same leg, but it was just a bruise. And then he didn't practice, and Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, well, they played Monday. Then he felt well on Thursday and practiced, and was kind of surprised that he would even be ready to play today.
It brings up 3rd and 7, and he operates from the spread formation this time. Intended for Dennis Gentry, just incomplete, covered by Michael Downs. Tomczak, after his first offensive series of 3 plays, comes to the sideline.
This is how he got the injury last week. It was out of the shotgun. Same type of thing. He got sandwiched from the left side and the right side. That time he got rid of it before he got sandwiched.
And so Buford will come in to punt. Gordon Banks back deep for Dallas. Trying to get up to it. Doesn't. Lets it bounce. Goes out of bounds. Cowboys will take over at their own 34. Trailing 21-0. 39-yard punt by Buford. No return. We talked about Flutie and how he had gotten the ball upfield, his passing performance in the first half. Meantime, there's a flag down on the field. It's like Reggie Collier will come back when this is all settled.
Well, the area the flag is in, I would say it's someone from the kicking team leaving too soon.
Number 51, ineligible downfield.
Right.
Declined. First down.
This is Dallas passing distance thrown.
Well, you can see they keep it a lot in that under 10 yards. They're 7 for 7, and then as they go up the field, they don't do as well. So, the stats are going to look better than they really are. And when you're in that under 10 yards, you ought to be 100%, but you're not going anywhere.
You might as well run it. Dorsett and Newsom everywhere. They were headed left. But they headed there too soon.
And it was the right side that jumped off again.
Cross guard, number 63, first down.
Yeah, they get the left guard. The tight end moved. I think it was Cosby. I don't know that 63, Titans store, I think was okay. Kerr was okay. They looked good coming out of there. See that? They're right there. Head up, knees bent, eyes straight ahead.
Collier, the quarterback. 1st and 15. And the Bears show him that 8-man front again. Vincent right up in the thick of it. Now he backs out. Collier looks quick, has it batted away and deflected to Mike Sherrard. He was looking for Tony Hill and got the completion anyway.
You know, Fensick was funny on that play. He got up there and faked. Then he heard the audible like he knew what it was. He pointed out and said, watch the pass out there, and Collier threw it right where Fensick said they were going to.
He's been around a while.
Watch this. There's Fensick. He's up in the middle. Now he's going to audibilize. Now watch Fensick as he backs out. Now he points out here to the right.
Second down. They need 10 for a first. That's Renfro on the move. Hand off Dorsett. Dorsett out to about the 38. Stopped by Wilbur Marshall. A gain of 4. William Perry with an assist. It'll bring up a 3rd down, Cowboys. 21-0. The Bears lead it.
You know, the interesting thing, we talked to Tom Landry in the preseason, and remember, they didn't win a preseason game, the Cowboys, and he said, we're not going to start out very good. He said, we got some new guys. We have a few injuries. He said, but from the midseason on, we should be good and have a real good ending. Of course, they're, what, one out of their, they've 1 for 6 in their last
They started off
7 games.
6 and 2, and then the bottom fell out. Meantime, the Bears are 13 and 2. As Collier gets away from Dent, runs into Marshall, and down he goes. Hampton was there with an assist. There was nothing anywhere for Reggie Collier.
I'll tell you, they get up there, you see they got the safety up in there, Duerson faking, and then they bring Dent from the outside. No one blocked Dent. Of course, you know, you can say quarterback this or quarterback that, but when no one blocks the defensive end, I don't care who you are, you don't have a chance.
He had no chance. Saxon in the punt. Lou Barnes back deep for the Bears. 11:50 left, 3rd quarter.
Yeah, one thing, like Singletary said, Mike Singletary said about the playoffs, if you don't score, we can't lose.
Fair catch by Barnes. He makes it at his own 24. 11:34 left, 3rd quarter after a 43-yard punt by Saxon. The Bears leading the Cowboys 21.
You ought to have a guy like Charles Barkley on there.
I would think.
I mean, the round mound to rebound has to be on a basketball team picked by a football team.
That's Peyton coming right for a couple of yards. Stopped by Everson Walls. Jeff Rohr. Peyton with a little assist for Rohr getting back up.
You know, I'll tell you, as we watch this, Pat, I just have the feeling as the game goes on that the Bears really look more and more like a team that are going to the playoffs, and the Cowboys look more and more like a team that are going home.
That it's the end of the year for one. They both like to be celebrating the holidays in the playoffs. The Bears will, the Cowboys won't. 2nd and 8. Anderson moves in motion. Peyton again. Skips out of bounds about a yard shy of a 1st down after a gain of 6. Diassi
I think they
made
got
the stop,
the coach.
and Ditka went down.
Yeah, he did go down. He probably didn't bend his knees and keep his head up. You see, you go there, he's probably looking at something. He's all dressed up. Now watch him. Here comes Peyton. There's Ditka. You see? He was off to the right. You don't see him. But anyway, he was there. I bet he didn't have his knees bent and his head up.
Well, let's look again.
There he is. Oh, he tried to do a bullfight deal. He tried to do an Olay, and he got caught in the middle of it.
Well, that's hard to do with your hands in your pockets.
Well, it was Steve Diassi that got him, special teams guy.
Suey will have the 1st down. And more. Down sideline. Washington 21, Philadelphia 14. The Bengals qualify for the playoffs only if the Patriots lose tomorrow night to Miami. Cincinnati overwhelmed the Jets. What a year it's been for them. Cleveland over San Diego, 47-17. Cardinals continue to add woe to the Buccaneers. Houston 16-7 over Buffalo. First down Bears at Texas Stadium. They lead 21-0. Anderson the move man. Tom Zach the quarterback. Gives to Peyton. Loss of maybe one. Hegman. And Diassi. Just to finish the scores from around the league, Kansas City beat Pittsburgh 24-19. And the Chiefs qualify for the playoffs. First time in 15 years. Atlanta over Detroit 20-6. And the Vikings finish on an upbeat 9-7 under Jerry Burns. And they beat the Saints, and both those teams, I think, have a future on the horizon. 2nd and 11. Back goes Tom Zach. Intended Gentry. Was a possibility.
I'll tell you, Gentry is upset, but so was Tom Zach, because what happened is the Bears went deep, and then they left that underneath open, and Gentry had the whole field. And Gentry has great speed. If he catches that ball in the open field, that could have been close to a touchdown.
Tom Zach is 0 for 3. Going to have another shot right here. 9-10 left third quarter. 21-0.
I'll tell you, when this game's over, and all of next week, part of the other week, the number one question for Mike Ditka is going to be, who's going to start at quarterback in the playoff game?
I think I know.
I think I know, too. But with Mike Ditka, you never know. That doesn't mean anything.
That's right. Here's Tom Zach. Going deep, and he's got a man. It's Lou Barnes. Incomplete. Gentry was there as well. Tom Zach disgusted.
So it's Mike Ditka. He said you have two guys wide open deep and you can't hit them. He had Gentry the play before, then he had Gentry on that one and threw it short. Threw one behind him and one short.
Buford back to punt. Crowd starting to get on the Cowboys a little bit now as Gordon Banks goes back to receive Buford's punt. Bears leading 21-0. They come after it to try to block it. Buford gets off a dandy. They let it go. And Anderson down quickly, bats it back. And the Bears will down it at the Dallas 5. There's a good example of what Neil Anderson has done all year long. Now they bring it back to the 20. They said he didn't get it done. But the Bears are getting it done 21-0. What happened is Anderson got down to down the punt. Got both feet on the line, the goal line. Knocked it backwards. But as you can plainly see, he got both feet on the goal line.
But it was still an amazing effort to get down there.
Yeah.
You wonder how he's always the first guy down there.
That's right.
You know, and they double team him. They got guys out on him, you know, blocking him, knocking him, cutting him. But he's always the first guy down there.
Reggie Collier, the quarterback for the Cowboys, has Herschel Walker back in the game with Tony Dorsett. Option play of sorts to Dorsett. Out to about the 26 and a gain of 6. Wilbur Marshall knocked him out of bounds. We are at Texas Stadium, the home of the Cowboys in Irving, Texas, where the Bears lead 21-0. Doug Flutie quarterback Chicago the entire first half, threw 2 touchdown passes. Walter Payton scored on a 1-yard touchdown run, and Flutie hit Anderson and Goff. And now he's getting a rest. 2nd and 4. Renfro split wide to the right. Collier's back. Going to be chased by Kent. Reggie Collier upfield. Flag is down. Kenneth Renfro. Richardson on the coverage. Penalty marker.
I tell you, Richard Dent and Steve McMichael hit Collier at the same time right after he threw the ball. And that has to hurt. Watch, there's 95 76 is going to come in, too. You see the two of them chasing him? Watch, he throws the ball, and there's about 500-pounder guy hitting him. Whew.
First down.
McMichael injured something, and now he's coming off the field. Henry Wechter takes his place.
I don't know where the pass interference was. It's against Mike Richardson. I see the flag, but I didn't see any penalty.
There's McMichael.
McMichael got hurt hitting the quarterback.
Or chasing.
He'll probably come back in. Those guys don't let quarterbacks get them out of the game.
Here's Collier. The direction of Sherrard, covered by Vesty Jackson and Gary Fensick. Dallas first 10 possessions, 4 turnovers, and 6 punts. No points, obviously.
And the longest drive that they had was a 9-play drive. I don't know. They just don't look, I mean, I don't know, word up or emotional or whatever. I mean, they don't look like they're here. They're here, but they don't look here. You know what I mean?
Very well. Draw play to Dorsett. And Dorsett whirls to midfield. Very close to a first down. Dewerson finally knocked him down, but Tony might make him move the sticks. Look, we got Santa Claus carrying the sticks.
That guy there, he's a member of the Bubba Club. He's the vice president here of the Dallas group, and you know, he's like Bubba all year, and then he becomes Santa Claus around this time of year, and then he does both. One thing about him, you're not going to get a quick move up and down the field on a no huddle.
Collier back to throw. Again chased by Dent. Almost stripped by Dent. And now Reggie Collier takes off. Gets away from one man, slides out of bounds. The Dallas first down at about the 33. Fensick knocked him out of bounds.
I'll tell you, the most upset guy here is Richard Dent. Watch him. He has a clear shot at him. He runs right by the tackle, who doesn't even block him. He faked him out. Now he has him, and instead of getting him right in the middle of the back, he reached for him. And, of course, that doesn't bring a Reggie Collier down. Then Collier is the guy who, as we said earlier, runs 4.5 40. So when he gets in the open field, he's going to be tough to catch.
That was Howard Richards, number 70, trying to block Richard Dent.
He didn't even touch him.
No.
Yeah, Dent gave him a move, and Richards took a knee.
Here's Dorsett, tripped up by Wilbur Marshall. No gain.
Howard Richards didn't block Wilbur Marshall that time. He's in there for Mark Tuinei, Howard Richards is, and he's having a tough time over here on this left corner. First of all, Dent blocks him. I mean, Dent beats him. He doesn't even block him, and then Marshall runs right by him for the tackle. Watch him. There he is. You see him blocking Marshall. Marshall's come right off it. Down the line, makes the tackle.
Make it 2nd and 10. Sherrard wide right. Hill wide left. Collier back. Marshall chasing. Collier with that good speed gets away from the refrigerator, who turned it up another notch, but not enough notches.
I'll tell you, and Marshall couldn't do it. Dorsett had to block him. Watch 58. He's going to come right here. Dorsett, he runs right over Dorsett. Now he gets in the chase. Marshall will catch 95% of the quarterbacks in the league, not Collier. The refrigerator will catch 30% of the quarterbacks in the league, but not Collier.
You think he would catch 30%? Huh?
Well, there are some guys. I mean, guys like Jim Plunkett he would catch. Ron Jaworski, Fouts would give a good run to.
A large appliance. 3rd and 2. Collier back to throw. Chased again. Dent and Marshall before he had a chance.
He doesn't. Again, coming from that left side of the Cowboys, They're going to be right here, coming again from this side. They're just getting a big push right in here. We see there comes Marshall from the outside, Dent the inside, and the first guy there. They just didn't get him blocked.
Titans are picked up Finsick, who was blitzing, but nobody got the other two. And the Cowboys will have to punt. The Bears lead at 21-0. Lou Barnes standing back at the 10. Saxon back in his own territory, his own 47. 6:14 left third quarter. Just trying to knuckle it. Fumbled it momentarily. Will it die down there? The Cowboys do get it down, it looks like, at about the 1-yard line.
The most spirited part of the Cowboy play today has been their special teams.
Now they bring it back to the 20. See if his feet go into the end zone.
That's exactly right. You can see the feet both on the goal line. Good call by the officials. It hit DiAsi. It bounced up and hit him right in the face. And you see the feet back here in the goal line, the knees down.
Vince Albritton.
So the ball comes back to the 20-yard line. Got a lot of white jerseys down there.
The Bears will take over their own 20. Tom Zach is still the quarterback. 21-0 they lead with 6 minutes, 4 seconds left, third quarter. Peyton and Suey are the two running backs for Tom Zach. Ortego on the move, and here's Tom Zach looking downfield and has the pass picked off by Eugene Lockhart. And the Cowboys get a break. Out of bounds at about the 30 is Lockhart. Turnovers are tied at 4-4, but the score has the Bears 21 and the Cowboys nothing.
It looked like Lockhart, watch him here, number 56, he reads this thing all the way. So he sees the receiver again. Because he has help deep, he can run underneath it. So he ran behind and underneath Moorhead. And the ball was thrown behind Moorhead.
Collier back to throw, trying to get away from all the pressure, back in his own territory. Finally throws it, picked off by McMichael. And the Bears come right back with the football. Otis Wilson was all over Reggie Collier.
When you get guys like Dent chasing, and you get guys like Otis Wilson chasing, you're going to get interceptions to the tackle. But watch Otis Wilson. He's up there on top. He goes inside of Walker, not much of a block. Then he chases after him. He has to get rid of the ball, and there's the tackle. Steve McMichael covering the tackle posterior.
And the Bears take over. Tom Landry, it's been a tough year for him. He will be back to coach again next year.
Well, I think he's going to have some tough decisions to make on the way back.
Indeed.
You know, I mean, what do you do with some of those older players?
Peyton to the 40 in Dallas territory. Jeff Rohr finally brought him down, but a gain of 18 for the great Walter.
You know, I mean, he has the decisions like, you know, a guy like Too Tall Jones, a guy like Hegman who've been there 12, 13 years, John Dutton. You know, do you bring those guys back? Do you replace them now? Your linebackers, your secondary. I mean, you know, do you make trades? And I think that this is really a year where he's going to have to do a lot. I mean, I think it's going to be more than a guy here or a guy there. I think a lot of decisions have to be made and a lot of movement has to be made.
And tough decisions. Guys, as he said, who've contributed so much over the years. Flea flicker, Tom Zach has a man wide open. Dennis Gentry. Peyton took it, threw it back to Tom Zach. Gentry gets 21 yards before Everson Walls knocks him down.
So the thing about it is the block that Walter Payton made on Jeff Rohr. They really locked up. Payton's going to get the ball, start up here. Tomczak's going to go back. He's going to lateral back. Now Payton, after he laterals back, has to block Rohr right here so Tomczak can get the ball to Gentry. But watch this. It starts out to Payton. He comes up. Now watch him go back. Now watch right there the block that he makes. He has to keep Rohr off of Tomczak to give him time.
First down, Bears. They're at the 19. Now they're at the 15 as Payton carries it for a gain of 4. Stopped by Ed Too Tall Jones.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of guy Walter Payton is. I mean, here you are. You've already clinched your division. You've clinched everything in the playoffs that you can. You're ahead 21-0, but Walter Payton's still in there. You say, why? Because that's the way Walter Payton plays. Walter Payton doesn't stand.
That's the way he's always played.
That's right. You put him in, you let him go. So we say, well, how about injuries? You don't worry about those things.
Second and 6. We're at the Cowboy 15. Reitman starts in motion. Payton again. By Ed Jones. A loss of 2.
You know, there's a guy that's going to be one of the decisions. What do you do with a Too Tall Jones? You know, does he have another year or 2 in him? And again, this hasn't been one of his better years. I would bet that this one will be back.
I would think so,
bet
too.
That Too Tall would be, but I mean, eventually you have to do something.
Third down and 8 from the 17. Tomczak out of the spread. Hand off Suey. Straight up the middle. And again, a little extracurricular activity.
Well, the 2 Bs are in there, Becker and Bates. You know, Becker missed most of last season. He was on the IR list, and anytime there's a little extracurricular activity, you know Bully Billy Bates is going to be in there. Look at that. He got a new glove. You know, he had four screws put in that hand on the knuckle. And now look, he's pointing. He's pointing at Becker. Hey, Becker, I'm Bates. I got you.
Kevin Butler with Fuller holding. Will try from 31 yards away. Plenty of distance. And good enough. And it's 24-0. He really ripped that one. Butler is good, and the Bears again shutting out Dallas. 24-0 with 1:50 left, third quarter. Warming up on the sideline. We've seen Flutie, Tomczak, and now it would appear we're going to see Fuller. Butler's kickoff. And it's going to be Darrell Black at the 10-yard line. To the 37, perhaps, where the Cowboys will take over. Rather unusual occurrence on the field goal by Butler from 31 yards away that made it 24-0 just a minute ago.
You know, I've never seen this before. There's no wing out here. Here's Wilbur Marshall here, who's supposed to be over here. When the ball snapped, he comes running all the way over here and blocks Everson Walls right here. I've never seen that. Now watch him. Inside guy. The ball snapped. There's no one out here in the right wing. Here comes Marshall. There goes Walls, and they got the kickoff. We see Steve Fuller going there to talk to Marshall. What were you doing over there?
Fuller is the quarterback now. Pass intended down the middle for Cosby, incomplete, no flag. Mike Singletary was back with Cosby. They asked their middle linebacker, I guess the Bears do, certainly last year, perhaps to a lesser degree now. They asked Singletary to do more, I think, than any other team.
Well, he can probably do more. I mean, sometimes last year they used to play a defense where he would start in the middle and he would have the deep middle. He would have to be like the safety. They would rotate outside and he'd run all the way 40 yards deep in the secondary.
Second and 10. He does a lot of pointing, too. Intended Tony Hill, nothing there. Wilbur Marshall was back, along with Bestie Jackson. But no chance.
You know, the interesting thing about this Cowboy offense today is Herschel Walker, you know, has been such a big plus to him, and they really haven't used him much today. He's kind of been quiet. He's only run the ball 3 or 4 times, caught a couple passes, but they really haven't been majoring in him.
No. Walker is now to Pelur's left as they operate out of the spread formation. Rafferty the center with one hand without looking. Pelur outside Tony Hill complete. Don't know. Depends on where they mark it, whether or not it's a first down. Bestie Jackson on the coverage.
Well, they give it to him. I think, remember how Jackson was playing inside of Hill, as he still is. He intercepted an in. So that's the second out that Tony Hill's been able to run on Bestie Jackson. He was playing tight underneath an in so they can get the outs on him.
They need about a foot, and they're going for it. They did not get the first down on the completion from Pelur to Hill. 1:26 left, third quarter. Bears 24, Cowboys nothing. Walker is hit in midair by Finsick and Duerson, and I don't think he made it.
I think Walker jumped and Duerson jumped, and they met in the middle short of a first down. Mike Ditka was saying last night, and I totally agree with him, that Dave Duerson has to be the best strong safety in the NFL.
Right now, he's certainly playing as if he is.
He read that thing all the way. He was coming in, and Otis Wilson saying, that's how it happened. Boom, they went like that. Watch, Walker's going to come to the left and jump, and watch 22 come in and jump. And they both meet head on, right in the middle there, and Herschel Walker goes no farther.
He might have gone backwards even. Look at this.
Watch it. He's going to jump. Duerson jumps, and they meet right in the hole. That's the way you're supposed to tackle. I mean, that guy's on my team.
Sanders, the ball carrier. Fuller, the quarterback. Downs comes out of there with it. And the Cowboys have the ball back. 1:08 left in the third quarter. 5th turnover.
Remember Mike Ditka saying last night, that's what we can't have. I want to start eliminating those turnovers. They started the game with one, and now they have one here at the end of the third quarter. And again, you could just see, trying to fight with the ball, trying to keep the ball. Thomas Sanders trying to hold on, get that extra yard. He got the ball knocked out.
Fuller kept Downs from scoring for Dallas. Not your picture book tackle, but he took him down. Pelur, first down Cowboys at their 41. Pelur back to throw. A lot of time. Now chased and down. Singletary. Otis Wilson was close. 6 times Cowboy quarterbacks have been sacked.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing with that speed is you start out and you get a guy like Singletary in the middle. And the thing is, once they see a quarterback, then they can run and catch him. The guy can't get away. You see here, there's nothing to throw. Here's Singletary. He starts out, boom, he's going to come right after him. All 3 of these linebackers, Singletary, Wilson, and Marshall, can all run like running backs.
2nd and 16, and number 16 back to throw. Nothing but the ground. Close, as again he was under pressure from Richard Dent. They can't get him blocked.
I think Richard Dent is showing that he's still a Pro Bowl player. That was a stunt that time. Perry started to the outside. Dent went underneath to the inside. Watch Perry, 72, will come out towards us. Dent goes in, takes the place. Richards can't get over there, and Dent hits Pelur just as he's throwing the ball.
Well, he's showing, as you said, that he hasn't lost anything. He probably hasn't gotten the notoriety that he got last year. But today, at least, he is an all-pro. Pelur back to throw. Again, Kent close to him. The pass is complete to Tony Hill. Flag down on the far side of the field. Bestie Jackson on the stop. 29 seconds left, third quarter.
You know, the Cowboys haven't been able to do a lot offensively. In fact, that play will probably come back. But the one thing they have been able to do is get some passes on Vesty Jackson.
Illegal motion, number 82, third down.
That's going to be Mike Renfro leaving before he sees the top guy up there. See, he left before the ball was snapped. There's no excuse for that. I mean, when you're the outside guy, you always look in at the ball anyway.
3rd and 21. Dallas only has 45 yards net passing today with Collier and Pelluer. Pelluer this time on the spread. Out of the pocket, chased by the refrigerator and thrown down the middle complete to Renfro. And that'll be enough for the first down. Richardson made the stop. That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score, the Chicago Bears 24, the Dallas Cowboys nothing. We now pause for a word from your local station. Back at Texas Stadium, Pat Summerall. Back at Texas Stadium, Pat Summerall, John Madden, one more quarter to go. The Bears leading the Cowboys 24-0. Steve Pelluer, the quarterback, outside to Herschel Walker, and he is cut down by Otis Wilson.
And that's one of the reasons, you know, you talk about this Bear defense. They're number 1 in the league. Last year they were so good, they're taking it all the way. And the reason is they don't have any guests on that defense. They're all tacklers. They all carry their own load, whether it be the line, the linebackers, the secondary. They all tackle well in the open field.
They're all outstanding athletes. In addition to the fact that it's a very well conceived defense. Was last year, is this year.
Yeah, they got that ability to kind of zero in on you, you know, get you in that scope and then keep you in there.
Dorsett on the move. Pelluer back to throw. Flag down. Pelluer has a man open. It's Tony Hill. And Hill struggling on the far sideline in the arms of Vesty Jackson. A gain of 14 if it's allowed, but there's a penalty marker down.
And that's the type of year it's been for the Cowboys. You know, anytime there's something is going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong for them.
Motion, number 33, second down.
On Dorsett, Tom Landry was saying yesterday, I can't remember a year. Well, we've had penalties before, but I can't remember a year when the penalties always seem to occur when we've had a big play.
And bring it back. And you remember that Giant game? They beat the Giants up there in New York where we did that game, and they were behind. They needed a score. They would get a play, and then it would come back. Then they'd get a play, and then come back. Then get a play, and then come back. That's haunted them this year.
It really has. Second down. It's not an excuse. Here's Pelluer, screen pass, tapped away again by Richard Dent, who thought he should have had an interception. Wilbur Marshall out there with him, too.
But, you know, they're playing a type of football that really goes with losing teams. They've had 7 penalties today. They've had 5 turnovers, and they've been sacked 6 times. So those things are all things that happen to losing teams, and that's the reason they lose.
That'll bring up a third down situation, 3rd and 14. And that picture will tell you the kind of year it's been here in Dallas. Not a good one. The Bears lead 24-0. Now they're showing blitz, and they're bringing a bunch. Pelluer had it to Tony Hill, covered by Vesty Jackson. On the blitz was Singletary. The pass incomplete. And that'll bring up a 4th down. They got to go for it. Here comes Raphael Septien. This will be a 50-yard or thereabouts field goal attempt for him.
Well, you know, they've been playing these Bears for a couple years, and they haven't dented that scoreboard. Probably think we'll take a shot at anything we can get. It was 44-0 last year, 24-0 now. So they want to get something up there somehow. So they bring in the kicker to do it. Who would have
50
thought?
yards with Pelluer holding. Who would have thought, indeed. more than 12 feet off the ground. They're on the scoreboard. It's finally got a Dallas dent. Forget on Christmas Day, the Bulls against the New York Knicks. Michael Jordan in action, and he is a showcase himself and something to see. And after that, the John Hancock Sun Bowl featuring the Washington Huskies against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Right now, we're at Texas Stadium. Pat Summerall and John Madden. It's 24-3. The Bears leading Dallas. Dennis Gentry and Thomas Sanders back deep to receive Septien's kickoff, and they won't return this one. Sanders downs it in the end zone. And Tom Landry, frustrating year for him. Watch his reaction after Septien's field goal.
Looks like he's saying 2 years, but we finally got on the board.
The last two meetings, the Bears have outscored the Cowboys 68-3. And I suppose that's the reason for that look.
That's no way for the pupil to treat the teacher.
Right?
I'll tell you, his pupils are doing well this year. How many? 3 of them are in the playoffs, right? Ditka, Dan Reeves, and then Kansas City, John Malkovich.
Don't forget Raymond Berry.
Raymond Berry. 4 of them are in the play. Well, no, he's not in yet.
Not yet. This is Neil Anderson. Stopped by Michael Downs after a gain of 7.
That's the thing, I guess. If you can't go yourself and you're the teacher, you just send your best student.
Well, you give Gene Stallings some time, too, in St. Louis. He's the only one with a losing record down at the bottom.
Well, he's also the only one that's not in the playoffs. Well, we have to say Raymond Berry, the Patriots, have to play tomorrow night. And if they win tomorrow night, then they win the Eastern Division of the AFC.
Well, Stallings and the professor himself are not in the playoffs. Anderson and Calvin Thomas, the running backs. This is Neil Anderson, the Bears' #1 pick. Right side shy of the first down after a gain of only 1. Stopped by Randy White. You know, you look back at the Cowboys season, we've seen them, what, 4 or 5 times? And when Randy White pulled a hamstring muscle in Denver, slowed him down, Herschel Walker, Dorsett, and Danny White all went out or got hurt in the same game at Giant Stadium. It sort of just took the heart out of the team.
Well, the heart out of the offense, and then you add to that, just getting a little old and not being as good. A new offensive system with Paul Hackett as a coordinator, and it just hasn't been their year.
Calvin Thomas for the first down for the Bears. That getting a little old seems to become a factor everywhere.
Well, it is, but I don't know that it has been with this Bear team. Of course, the Bears won the Super Bowl last year, and I really have that feeling. To me, they're still the champion. I don't know if anyone's going to come in and whip this team. I don't know. I think if you come and you're going to get these guys in the playoffs, I think you better bring all the artillery you can muster up.
I don't know that anyone, as you say, is going to whip them. Somebody might beat them, but I don't think anybody's going to whip them.
Well, I can't see too many people doing too many things to this Bear defense.
On first down, it's Anderson left side. And Anderson pokes for about 8 or 9. Stopped, tripped up by Downs. Call it 7. Now, this guy, I guess, Wayne Payton, if he ever does retire, and when he does, I guess Neil Anderson is the heir apparent.
Mike Ditka was explaining to me. He says, as a runner, he's a slasher with hard legs. I don't know exactly what hard legs mean, but, slashing and, guys bounce off him, I think.
That means he hurts you, I guess, when you tackle him.
Usually slashing things that are hard do hurt you.
Yeah. I forgot. Second down. Need about 3. This is Calvin Thomas. He doesn't get enough. Smerrick on the stop. A gain of 2. They need about that much, thanks, Steve. Quarterback situation with the Bears. Who knows?
Well, I think it's overrated. I really do. Yeah, I mean, I think, it'll probably be Doug Flutie, but I think that's going to be the thing they talk about all next week. I don't think Fuller is in the competition now. I think right now it's between this guy, Doug Flutie, and Mike Tomczak.
And if you voted today, or if you won on today's performance, that guy would be the starter. Tomczak, coming off the injured leg, it did not have the kind of performance that Flutie had. Hand off Thomas, and he has the first down. 8-5. Jim McMahon, I talked to him just before the game. Asked him, well, you can see he's in obvious pain with that brace, splint and what have you on his right shoulder. I asked him how he felt, and he said, I feel okay. I just took a couple of painkillers, and I'll be better.
I'll tell you, he doesn't look very good.
No, he doesn't.
He looks like he should still be in the hospital. I'll tell you, it was some operation. It was more than they thought it was going to be, worse than they thought it was going to be, and there's some question as to whether he'll be able to come back. I really feel he will. Just knowing the guy, he'll do whatever it takes.
Fuller for Gentry. Had the ball there. That's a good throw by Fuller. He knows he had it there. Everson Walls on the coverage, but he had that hook up with Gentry.
Yeah, he feels good about that one. He's looking over in the sideline to get the play. In fact, he walked over just like Flutie did. Walked all the way over to the sideline to get it firsthand. They don't want to feel Mike Ditka's madness, I think, so they want to get that play straight.
Who would like that? Ditka's madness.
I don't know.
His wrath.
Dog, yeah. His ire. Is that a word, ire?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they don't want to feel his ire.
Boy. Second down. Fuller gives again to Anderson. Anderson left side up to about the 48, stopped by Rohr, a gain of 3.
You know, one thing about Mike Ditka, though, he's just a coach. And, you know, we were talking to his wife last night, Diane, and she was saying he doesn't know anything. I mean, he can't fix anything, do anything. He said one time she called home, and he was fixing an electrical outlet. So he had all the electricity turned off. Picked up the phone, and he said, yeah, I'm working on the lights here. How'd you get a hold of me? I got the electricity off.
The phone is not related.
No, he thought it was. He thought if you shut the electricity off, the phone can't ring. That's my kind of guy. He's a coach. He doesn't know, you know, these Alexander Graham Bell deals.
Who would have thought? There's Gentry. The left side. In the Dallas territory, Ron Fellows made the stop.
Well, this has been a tough year, Dallas. Look at what the fans have to go through.
That's a fan?
Yeah, that's a fan. He got lost. The guy fell out of the joint. He's above him. Look at that right leg of kicker.
That's the same guy that was carrying the sticks.
Oh, that's a tough year. They just can't even keep themselves.
Well, another guy just fell out.
Yeah, they can't keep themselves in the stands.
It's not that exciting.
Oh, it's a tough deal here.
Clock running, 7:15 left in the game. Buford back to kick. Banks let it bounce and roll, and the Bears are down it, and this one will stand. It's Sean Gale down there to knock it down. 42-yard punt. The Bears will down it inside the Dallas 5. They lead 24-3. Playoff picture in the AFC, somewhat simplified. Already in the Jets, Denver, Cleveland, and Kansas City. New England and Miami tomorrow night. Patriots win, they win the AFC East. And the wild card game would be Kansas City at the New York Jets. The other scenario, Patriots lose, the Jets win the AFC East, and the wild card game would be Cincinnati at Kansas City. So all those possibilities have reduced. Then Fuller overthrows Mike Sherrard. John and I will be at RFK Stadium, not there, at RFK Stadium next week for the wild card game between the Los Angeles Rams and the Redskins next Sunday, and we're not sure what time that game is yet.
Well, what that means is if the Redskins win, then they would play the Bears. The Rams win, then they would play the Giants.
Right. Fuller on a draw play to Dorsett. Out to about the 12, tripped up by Singletary. And he is the architect on the field of the Bear defense.
Look at them. The way they look, you know, they just have instincts. They don't look at one thing. Middle linebacker, the great ones see everything. I mean, they see the line in front of them, the backs, the movement. They see everything. I remember I used to ask all the great middle linebackers what they looked at, and they all said nothing. They just kind of see everything, but look at nothing specifically.
If you start thinking about specific things, then you're thinking too much, and down goes Pelor. Otis Wilson from the outside, the 7th sack of a Cowboy quarterback. 6:16 left to play. The Bears over Dallas, 24-3.
Otis Wilson's getting ready for the playoffs. Look at this. This is a record that they're going after today. The fewest points allowed in a season. So far, it's 180. And of course, you know, unless the Cowboys score 16 points from now until the end of the game, they're going to go down in defensive history.
Saxon back in his own end zone, and Lou Barnes standing at midfield. Saxon's punt high and short. Barnes fields it. Gets away from one man, shakes another. Out of bounds by the punter Saxon and Vince Albritton. And the Bears will take over at the Cowboy 35-yard line. 5:42 left to play. 24-3 they lead.
Giving that extra effort makes winners. Be All You Can Be, sponsored by the U.S. Army. Sharing a backfield with Walter Payton doesn't always mean sharing a spotlight. But number 26, Matt Suhey, is a true team player and a key contributor to the world champion Bears. What Suhey lacks in great natural talent, he makes up for with extra effort by being a resourceful role player who perfectly complements the superstar in his backfield. Matt Suhey is the best he can be.
Here 24-3. Bears lead the Cowboys in the fourth quarter with 5:42 remaining. Doug Flutie quarterbacked the entire first half for the Bears. Mike Tomczak came back to begin the second half, and now it's Steve Fuller at quarterback. His runners are Neil Anderson and Calvin Thomas. The offensive line has Blair, Rubin, Dorsett over on the Dallas sideline being attended to. Been a tough year for Tony. The only year other than the strike year that he will not rush for 1,000 yards since he was a junior in high school back in Pennsylvania. Ortega, the motion man. Anderson, the ball carrier. Bounces off a couple of people, stopped by Vince Albritton after a gain of 4. Eugene Lockhart also part of the hit.
You know that Jim Covert is the all-pro and number 74, the left tackle, is still in there at the end of the game. They've moved some of the other offensive linemen around, but they ran in outside him that time, and he come down, boom, on Randy White, knocked him into the middle, and created that big hole. I mean, there's some guys that are just best players, and they only know one way to play. It doesn't make any difference what the situation is, where you're going, who's winning. You just go out and play hard.
And that's what he's done from the very beginning. This is Anderson by Lockhart. Albritton also involved in the tackle. Gain of 3.
There's Covert right there. That's what a tackle looks like. You see, he's looking to the inside. Do I have a stun in here? Do I have to pick up blitz? Nope, nothing there. So I turn out in my end. See, I mean, Jeffcoat isn't playing on that same level that Covert's playing. Covert's playing at a couple notches up.
Playoff level, Super Bowl level, championship level.
And I say that whoever goes in there against this Bears, they better bring their hats and be ready.
24-3, they lead Dallas. 3rd and 3, it's Anderson. He's close. He may have it. I think he does. Randy White. Vince Albritton on the stop, but I think that Neil Anderson got enough for the first down. The leading rushing team, the Bears, have won the title again. First team to lead the NFL in rushing 4 straight seasons since they did it. The Bears did back in 1939. Through 42. That's amazing.
You know, they have those, that's what we were talking about earlier. They have those two ingredients, and that could be well enough to win them their second Super Bowl. They got that leading rushing and the leading defense. And those two things will take you a long way.
Bears first and 10. They're at the Cowboy 25. They lead 24-3. Anderson wrapped up by Randy White. Jeffcoat also there. No gain.
You know, there's another guy we talked about, Covert. Randy White's in that same mold. You know, a guy that's down, bad year for the Cowboys, not one of his best year, no Pro Bowl, but he only knows one way to play. I mean, you go out, you put on that gear, strap that helmet on, and you just play as hard as you can. That's simple.
He's always done it, whether it be fishing or football. I want to do as well as I can. That's the way it should be done. Fuller. Picked off by Fellows. Intended for Lou Barnes. Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, the home of the Cowboys. The Bears making it an unpleasant home. Lead 24-3. We're in the fourth quarter with 2.5 minutes left to play. The game summary, Peyton scored 1 yard away, his 106th career rushing touchdown to tie Jim Brown. And then Flutie had 2 touchdown passes. Coming up next here on CBS, 60 Minutes. And Sam Hall, who's now in a Nicaraguan jail after being arrested as an American spy, tells his story for the first time to Mike Wallace in a 60 Minutes exclusive. 60 Minutes coming up on CBS. Fuller hands off to Robert Levette. Stopped by Ron Rivera after a gain of 2.
One thing about that, they're changing some of their defensive players, but they're keeping the fridge in there. So you aren't going to get out and rest.
You're not ready for a new appliance yet.
You better get in there. I'll tell you, he's still one of the favorite people. You know, did you see that? They had that questionnaire for a high school kid. Who's the most popular active person in sports? And it was this guy.
That's the 2-minute warning. And so they'll stop. Fuller heads for the sideline. 24-3. The Bears over Dallas. Here on CBS. Fuller to Banks. First down, Dallas. Their own 36. Game of 19. Maurice Douglas on the stop as the Cowboys hurry up.
Oh, the fridge just ran into the umpire back there.
Just got back. Screen pass. Levette out of bounds. Stopped it. Penalty flag would stop it. Walter Payton.
Yeah, we were talking about those most popular people. They were kids in grade school from 8 to 12. 8 through 12. Look at this. William Perry was number 1. Michael Jordan, Mary Lou Retton, Larry Bird, Jim McMahon was the 5th guy. Magic Johnson, Walter Payton. So the Bears, of these top 10 sports heroes, students grade 8 through 12, the Bears had 3 of them, led in all of them by this guy here, Fridge.
First down. And 5. Fuller out of the spread. Rafferty still playing. Dent around the corner. And they get it out to Newsom. Newsom taken out of bounds by Al Harris. A gain of 19. Clock stopped with 1:24 remaining now. Duerson, Singletary, Hampton all come back in.
Well, Dent started out, and he's going back in.
This is Randy White to his right. Ed Jones. Coming up next, the NFL Today, the wrap-up show with Brent Musburger. The playoff picture is pretty well settled now, with the exception of what happens tomorrow night with the New England Patriots. Renfro and Sherrard both split wide right. Valor. Renfro. First down, Cowboys, the Bear 20. Richardson on his back. A minute, 10 seconds left to play. Cowboys hurry up. They have all of their timeouts remaining. Mike Ditka. 14-2 after last year's great year. Pass incomplete. Intended for Banks. Covered by Vesti Jackson. When you think about what he's accomplished in the last 2 years, it really is remarkable, those two back-to-back records.
Well, and then the job that he's done in building this thing and quarterbacks. He's had 4 different quarterback start, and he's just kept this thing together. I think sometimes his temperament, is outgoing, are overshadowed overshadow what a good coach he is. And sometimes I don't think the things that he's done, the things that he's, taught, gotten people to do, put together. Sometimes they say, he yells and screams and all that and spits, but they forget how well he's coached.
His enthusiasm is contagious. Here's Valor looking at the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Sherrard. Covered by Todd Bell. Danny White got his injured hand out of the cast yesterday. He can still give those signals to the other quarterback, though. In this case, it's Steve Valor. Following football 60 minutes. You will see, except on the West Coast, where you will see it at its regular time. Coming up next, the NFL Today, the wrap-up show with Brent Musburger. Here's a guy who had great hopes at the beginning of the year, then got hurt, Kevin Brooks. Less than a minute. Bears are going to win it. Valor looking deep for Banks, incomplete. Covered again by Vesti Jackson. That stops the clock with 47 seconds left to play.
I think that the Cowboys came in here with a pretty simple game plan that I've seen. It's run screens, run draws, and throw to the left against Vesti Jackson. They've done it all day, and that's all they've done.
And they got 3 points to show for it. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Dallas Cowboys and the National Football League is prohibited. Valor for Renfro, who comes down with it at the 5. Richardson all over him, but Renfro with a catch, a gain of 15. And they still would like to put some more points on that scoreboard against this Bear defense.
Well, they're taking a timeout there, and again, they want to end the season that way. Let's get one more in there for the end of this deal. It doesn't mean a lot, but
Cowboys with 2 timeouts remaining now. As you look at some of the people who are responsible for making John Madden and I comfortable, and for making, we hope, the telecast enjoyable. I guess that's right, isn't it?
It sure is. See, they got stuff like stores and stuff, sports and stats, words that you don't even know they have, those guys.
2 timeouts remaining. Mike Singletary over talking to teammates.
You aren't going to see that much. A defensive huddle where the guys laughing, button heads, getting low 10s when the other team's in the 5-yard line.
Here comes Hampton back in.
They don't want him to score.
No.
They already have the scoring record. They want it by 7 left.
Valor for the corner. Tony Hill, incomplete. Vesti Jackson again. He looks just as intense right now as he did when the game started. There's no way he can lose. That's Mike Ditka.
Well, he has to find something to be mad at. He has a shirt. That shirt, I've never seen that color before. I don't think it's a color.
Which one?
On Ditka, that shirt. I've never seen that. I think that's a different color. I mean, there's some stripes and stuff, but it's not. I wouldn't call it pink. I just think it's no color.
Let's say it's subdued. The handoff Levette, and there is absolutely nothing there. And the Cowboys call another timeout with 28 seconds remaining.
Well, you know, if I had to give a game ball out today, I would give it out to that guy, Otis Wilson. I mean, he started out going after him, and here he is still making tackles at the end going after him.
Well, I might save one for Doug Flutie.
Well, those offensive guys, they get things like Heisman trophies. I mean, defensive guys, they don't get mentioned. I mean, they get fined, they get suspended, they get this and that. They're too tough. They're this. You got to give them a game ball once in a while, something nice.
I would imagine he's got one already.
Yeah, we could just make
He's
that
a heck of a
award.
player. Yeah, you're right.
I think that this game, has had, the penalties and turnovers and stuff. We're coming close to some records today, I think, Pat.
So is he.
Well, the fridge is. You notice that he got a little waddle on him. Those legs start to grow together on you.
Randy White over on the Dallas sideline. The refrigerator, Dan Hampton, Otis Wilson, all of them out of the game now. But you're right, they don't want him to score. 28 seconds remaining. Cowboys down to one timeout. Bears leading 24-3. Third down and goal from the 5. Newsom and Robert Levette, the running back. Back with Fedor. Fedor for Renfro. And no flag. Renfro got up complaining, but there was no flag thrown. Clock stopped with 25 seconds. Fourth down it brings up. Some talk about Mike Renfro maybe not coming back, that he might retire after this year is over.
Well, I think the Cowboys feel that he has a couple more years in him, and Renfro himself said, I may not be back.
Next Sunday here on CBS will be at RFK Stadium in Washington for the Rams-Redskins wild card game. Fourth and goal from the 5. Fedor. Flags everywhere. Tony Hill covered by Vesti Jackson. Hill came down with the football. Let's see what the penalty might be.
Well, I think that's going to be against the Bears.
Pass interference, number 24. The catch was out of bounds. First down.
Catch was out of bounds. It'll be first and goal for the Cowboys with 21 seconds remaining. And they'll bring it back to the 1.
It was that second hit there. The first one was okay. It was the second hit. Then his second foot of Hill was out of bounds. So it was the second hit of Jackson. There was a penalty. The second foot of Hills was out of bounds.
Danny White got a new signal in there. A little left footwork.
The guy right behind him is Jim Myers, who we talked about earlier. 25 years as an assistant with the Cowboys. This is his last game. He's retiring.
Levette and Newsom. Fedor fakes. He's going to try to scramble, and he's in. But again, a penalty marker down. Fedor got in with 15 seconds to go, but I think they're going to bring it back.
They are. It's going to be holding against the Cowboys. It was Al Harris they were holding.
Number 62. First down.
Holding against Dallas.
That was Brian Baldinger. He was playing the tight end in short yardage. Number 90 was Al Harris of the Bears, and Baldinger just grabbed him as they got around him. Sure, we'll see it. See the end man in the line of scrimmage right here, 62. He's going to block 90. See him grab him there? Now watch him. He's not done yet. Grab, 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 grab. Then he pulls him down. See right there? He pulled him down. And then Fedor got inside. But that was an all-pro hold by Baldinger.
So they bring it back. First and goal back at the 11. Here's Fedor looking in the end zone, firing to Renfro, and he got the touchdown. And Dallas has finally scored against Chicago. Finally got the ball to the end zone. With 9 seconds remaining. Touchdown pass from Fedor to Renfro.
Well, maybe they just had to get it back there so that he could roll out. We see Fuller rolling out and making the throw here to the end zone. Renfro wanted that one earlier, didn't get it, thought it was a penalty on the Bears, then he came back and got his touchdown.
Septien for the extra point with Fuller holding. Extra point good. It is 24-10 with 9 seconds to go. The Bears over Dallas by 14.
You know, the Cowboys ended up with a score here, and I'm sure that's not the type of game that Tom Landry wanted. It's not the type of ending that he wanted. Of course, it's not the year that he wanted. Kind of a poor ending to a poor year and a very sloppy game. You know, we've had 11 turnovers in this game, and that's a season record. That's more turnovers than any game in the NFL this season.
Cowboys also had 8 penalties, and they've given up 7 sacks in addition to those turnovers. So, no, that's not very pretty.
And for the Cowboys, of course, they're going home. They think about it the whole offseason. For the Bears, that's one thing that they want to eliminate, and they have 2 weeks to do it now.
Coming up next, the NFL Today, the wrap-up show with Brent Musburger. So stick around. The playoff picture in the NFC settled. In the AFC, still a couple of possibilities. That will all be clarified, I'm sure, on the wrap-up show.
Well, it really can't be clarified till tomorrow night.
That's
because
true.
The Patriots still have to, if the Patriots win, they win the division. If they lose, they're 88 out the gate.
Willie Gault standing back deep. They're looking for an onside kick. They're going to get that, I'm sure. Everybody from Dallas is over on the left. Ball did go 10 yards. There was a collision. Dave Durson, I believe, came up with a football. And that should do it. 9 seconds remaining. Cowboys with 1 timeout left. But there's nothing to do now but go to the prom.
Thanks, Papa.
That's for Jim Myers. Thanks for the memories.
That's his wife. I'll tell you, a wife, you talk about the things that an assistant coach does, but a wife has to be a saint, a wife of a coach, because he's gone all the time. For 25 years, Jim Myers has been in the pits and really given this Cowboy team everything he's had. And now it's his last game. They gave him a Rolex watch yesterday, and
the whole team.
The whole team did. He has the rest of his life.
And that's the end of it. There's Jim Myers, and thank you. And for John Madden, this is Pat Summerall saying so long from Texas Stadium, where the final score was the Bears 24, the Dallas Cowboys 10. Don't forget, coming up next on the NFL Today, the wrap-up show with Brent Musburger. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
That's 6 ticks.